WXBX pregame show brought to you by the Bank of Rural Retreat, offering the best home loans ever. And Logan, as I bring you into the broadcast, these two teams played each other earlier in the year. Grundy got the upper hand in that game at home against the Maroons. Different location, different timing, and a different George Wythe team may not be as easy for us this time.
I definitely agree. I mean, they've gotten this far based on their fantastic play, and we've seen them grow a lot throughout the year. So I definitely don't think that they're the same team that played Grundy earlier on in the regular season. So, but the same could probably be said for Grundy as well. We haven't been able to watch them as we have George Wythe, but they definitely are here for a reason.
Talking about that Grundy Golden Wave team, 8-4 on the year as they went 2-0 in their district, the Black Diamond District over in farther southwest Virginia. They defeated Patrick Henry last week for their first recent championship in quite some time, defeated the Rebels 30-19 at Emory and Henry College. And as mentioned before, they defeated these Maroons earlier this season on October 7th at Grundy, 42-28, in a game in which Grundy never trailed to the Maroons. Again, Maroons looking to change that luck here in their state semifinal game. Those George Wythe Maroons are 9-3. They defeated Grayson County last week, 48-28, in what was an outstanding matchup and a big second-half performance from them. They have won 5 straight games, including, obviously, the 3 that they've won so far in the region tournament. They beat Galax and Grayson to finish out the season. Pretty good stretch of games right there.
It really is. I mean, they have just tremendously come in and have showed the world why they are here in the state playoffs. They have grown tremendously, and they are ready to battle it out here at the state semifinals.
Main playmakers to keep an eye out for if you're thinking about Grundy, it's going to be number 12, Isaiah Boyd, and number 25, Ian Scammell, have been handling a lot of the load when it comes to rushing. Grundy does not throw the football often. They may throw the football a few times a game. They run quite a bit. And again, Scammell and Boyd have been the main playmakers. Boyd, the quarterback, Scammell, a running back. When you're talking about this George Wythe team, I mean, it's been playmakers all over the field. Last week, it was Braden Houston's days. He had a huge first half, including a rushing touchdown, a punt return touchdown, and an interception in that game. Colton Green's been huge on the defensive side, and Tatum Smith has really grown into his own in the quarterback position, being inputted to the starting lineup halfway through the season.
He definitely has. Tatum Smith has really, he was kind of put in a bad situation. You know, it was unexpected, but he's really made the most of it. I mean, he's had some breakout games. His first game as a starter, he was outstanding in the passing lanes. A few games later against Galax, he was rushing, just had a tremendous amount of yards. So he's really fallen into this role, and he's done it very well. And he's got a lot of help with him as well. I mean, he's got a solid set of running backs and receivers to help him out.
Ben Jolly and Leighton Fowler will handle most of the rushing load for the Maroons. And you mentioned the situation that Tatum Smith found himself in earlier this year is when Luke Jolly broke his collarbone against Giles earlier this year that he was input, and he's been magnificent ever since. Seems like George Wythe, they're hitting their stride. They're on a tear right now, and it's going to be tough to stop this Maroons offense. Also want to go ahead and highlight a little bit of when we've been talking about it over the past couple of weeks. Before the playoffs, George Wythe, I believe, only had 5 second-half touchdowns in the regular season. They go into the game against Perry McClure, have a huge second half. They go into the game against Narrows, have a huge second half. They go into the game against Grayson County, have a huge second half. Seems to me that notion of them being a first-half team is in the past, at least as far as right now.
It definitely is. I mean, they've come in and they've been able to get under their feet throughout the entire game. They like to start off strong, but they just continue to get stronger as the game goes on. They don't wear down, and they don't let stamina affect them, as their team has really shown how great they can be.
Conditions will play a factor a little bit here, as it has been raining here in Wytheville this morning. We'll see what kind of condition the field is in. It's not currently raining at the moment, so we'll keep an eye out for that, but there are still some dark clouds in the area. Again, Grundy plays a very ground-heavy offense, so it tends to lean towards them. But the George Wythe defense, they've been trending extremely well here lately. We saw it in the game against Grayson County last week. How much stock do you put in this defensive line for George Wythe in order to fill the holes, get into the backfield early and often?
I mean, this defensive line has really impressed me over the last few games. They have done a great job of sealing holes and being able to stop the run up the middle, forcing them to bounce outside or run pass plays over top of them. So this defensive line, and especially against Grundy, because Grundy has a lot of seniority on this line. They've got a lot of size. So this defensive line, they're going to have to come out strong and fast, especially against a running team like Grundy.
Ben Jolly last week had 107 yards and only 8 carries against the Grayson County Blue Devils, so the offense is definitely going to be. But again, Grayson, as great of a team as they are, Grundy has a lot of size. They have a lot of strength on that defensive line. How important do you think it's going to be to win that battle up front on the line of scrimmage and create those separation for these dynamic running backs?
Whoever wins the battle of the trenches up front this game will win the ball game. It is nasty out here. It is wet, and hopefully if the rain holds off, we might see a little bit of action in the air. But as of right now, it is very overcast, and it's probably going to be a ground battle the whole way through.
Also, turnovers are going to be at a premium. George Wythe played last game and had 0 fumbles, 0 interceptions, no turnovers aside from turnovers on downs in that game against Grayson County. They've been playing very clean football as of late. As once again, the George Wythe Maroons got a big win, a 48-28 final score over the Grayson County Blue Devils. Want to go ahead and say thank you to our sponsors for today's action. Bland County Medical Clinic, Withfield Community College, with County Community Hospital, with County Real Estate, with Physician Practices, Bankers Insurance, Citizen, Princeton Community Hospital, and Withfield Office Supply. Also, once again, a shout-out to the Bank of Rural Retreat for sponsoring the pregame show. We're going to go ahead and take our first 3-minute break of the WXBX pregame show. We come back, we'll break down a little bit more of what you can expect to hear and get you set and ready for opening kickoff from Pendleton Field. Back in 3 minutes on 95.3 WXBX. Welcome back to Pendleton Field here at George Wythe High School. We just got finished observing the national anthem here. United States men's national soccer team in the World Cup was defeated 3-1 earlier today by the Netherlands. We'll be looking to rebound for the 2026 World Cup, which will be hosted right here in North America. Will be an interesting one to keep an eye out for. But we'll move to the other form of football here as the George Wythe Maroons are doing their big tradition, walking down through the stands here with 2 minutes until the kickoff from Pendleton Field. And we talked about it a little bit last week. We talked about it before. An entrance like this, when you've got your entire community waiting for you on the stairs, you're giving high fives, you're seeing a bunch of faces that you know. How amped do you think that makes George Wythe, especially in a game of this magnitude? I
think it feels extra special when it comes to a big game like today, as they are ready to go. And like you said earlier, we were given information that whenever George Wythe had won the region championship, they had also won state. So there's a lot of high hopes for this team, and they feel that impact on their shoulders. And they're coming out here today with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, as they had lost to Grundy previously in the regular season. So having this kind of entrance and this kind of amplitude of the crowd, they're definitely excited for today's game.
And if you listen to Punt, Pass, and Predict before to the game today, Mr. H.S. Ingo talked a little bit about what that crowd noise and what that environment can do for you. He told a story to me about how, or off the air, about how whenever he was in a coaching situation, he just told his players, when you walk out of the tunnel, when you walk out of the locker room, don't look, just close your eyes and listen. He says that sound, the way the fans act in these types of games, will stick with you. That's something you'll remember for the rest of your life. And that's exactly what is going on right here. Captains out on the field for George Wythe. It will be number 6, Ben Jolly, number 2, Luke Jolly, number 10, Leighton Fowler, and number 53, Colton Green. For the Grundy Golden Wave, it'll be number 12, Isaiah Boyd, number 25, Ian Scammell, number 52, Cameron Keene, and number 63, Logan Looney. Logan, with 30 seconds to go before, or as they do the coin toss, I'll go ahead and ask you, can you give us a key to the game for George Wythe to win this football game here on their home field in front of their fans? What's one thing they're going to have to do extremely well?
It's going to have to be their defensive line. They have come in every game during these playoffs, and they have shown how big of an impact that they can put on the game. And with a running team like Grundy, this defensive line is going to be key in trying to stop any kind of offensive progress.
I do tend to agree with you. On the offensive end, I think it's going to be a manner of, again, similar play to what we've seen from them in the past couple of weeks, limiting turnovers. You cannot give this Grundy offense more opportunities to score. They grind the clock down. They don't give you many opportunities to score because of how slow and methodical their offense is. You got to take advantage of opportunities when you can get them. Flipping around for the Grundy Golden Wave, what would you say if they want to pull off the road win to punch their ticket to Salem? What would you say is their main key?
I'm going to say they're going to have to stop Tandem Smith, because Tandem Smith is a crafty player, and this defense is really going to have to try to stop him at all means if they want to continue to go on in the state playoffs.
for the Grundy Golden Wave. The important factor is going to, and what I think is going to be the main thing is when you're talking about this offense right now, Grundy, again, they're slow, they're methodical, but they get the job done. Do not let this game get out of hand. Do not let this game flow in favor of George Wythe. You've got to be able to control the tempo and play at your own pace. I think it's going to be the number one thing that Grundy will try to do in this football game.
At the end of the coin toss, the Grundy Golden Wave has won, and they have elected to receive the ball. We've been seeing a lot of teams lately deciding to defer their choice to the second half and get the ball. But Grundy wants to start off with the offense.
Grundy wants to set the tone in this game early, getting the ball and this first possession. Again, you are listening to the WXBX pregame show as Grundy runs through their banner, presented by the Bank of Rural Retreat, offering the best home loans ever. George Wythe set to run through their banner as well. Again, you may hear in the background, this is an exciting atmosphere. Grundy, you can't find, show me where it, Logan. You can't find a seat in that bleacher.
We thought that there was no seating room at the Grayson game. You cannot fit another person into those bleachers.
And George Wythe runs through their banner. We're almost set and ready to go. We're going to go ahead and take a final 60-second break of the WXBX pregame show. When we come back, we'll have the start of the semifinals to see who will be heading to Salem next week. Back in 60 seconds on 95.3 WXBX. Welcome back to Pendleton Field here as Thomas Mitchell sets this game underway with the kick up at the 30-yard line. It'll be fielded by one of the up men of the Golden Wave. Cuts back towards the middle, gets up near the 40, before he's taken down at the 42-yard line. Good eye there, Logan. It was Isaiah Boyd, the main quarterback for this Golden Wave team, and that's where Grundy will start. 1st and 10 from their own 42-yard line, and here comes the number 12, Isaiah Boyd, listed as the 6'1" team.
And that's what George Wythe's bread and butter has been. They've been electing to go squib kick most of the time, only kicking it deep in rare situations.
Thomas Mitchell, the sophomore kicker, sets him up 1st and 10. Isaiah Boyd takes the snap, will hand the ball up to Ian Scammell up the middle. Scammell tries to go left, and he's hit by a host of Maroons. He's going down. First man there was number 6, Ben Jolly, and number 10, Leighton Fowler. Get used to hearing those names. That's a loss of 2 on first down.
And George Wythe, you got to be careful. We know that this Grundy team is a run offense, but don't get sold on the run. You got to be able to be respectful and keep your defensive backs honest.
And they play a power type of offense, does Grundy. Great job, tough sledding up front by the front 7 of the Maroons. 2nd and 12 from their own 40. It'll be out under center. High formation, man in motion. Boyd takes the snap, fakes the pitch, will roll out to his left. He wants to throw it deep, looks for a man down the field, and it's incomplete. Intended receiver was number 1, Logan Lester, and it falls incomplete out of bounds. Just like you were saying, Grundy trying to catch them offside. Tony Romo opened up here for you.
It makes a lot of sense. In the state semifinals, you got nothing to lose. You got to go all out. You got to open that playbook up, and you got to really surprise this team. These two teams played earlier in the regular season, so they got to be ready for each other in this matchup.
3rd and 12. George Wythe looking for a stop. Shot, pistol set. Takes the snap, does Boyd. He'll fake the handoff, move to his left. Jump cut, tries to make some separation, and he gets brought down at about the 44-yard line. That won't be enough to move the chains. Got him back within the chain, and Grundy will punt on the first possession. Huge stop for George Wythe.
And George Wythe defense showing why they are one of the better defenses in the VHSL as they stopped the Grundy Golden Wave in their first drive.
Back deep to receive for George Wythe will be Layden Houston. Again, had a huge game last week against the Grayson County Blue Devils, including a punt return touchdown right at the end of the first quarter. The snap is good. The kick is up, almost blocked. And it's a shank towards the left side. It goes out of bounds at about George Wythe's own 30. They're going to mark him down at the 36-yard line. And Colton Green almost got there again. Had a block punt last week. Ian Scammell handled the punting duty. And George Wythe gets in good field position.
And Colton Green, we say it every time we see him, but he's an exceptional athlete. He is strong, he is fast, and he is someone that you want on your team.
Number 53, Colton Green, 6'2", 205 listed on our roster, and he has been the man on the defensive line for George Wythe. 1st and 10 from their own 36-yard line. We are scoreless. 10:27 remaining in the first quarter. Here comes Tandem Smith. Shotgun set. 2 receivers out wide to the right, 1 to the left. Looks like it will be Ben Jolly in the backfield first. Takes the snap, Hands the ball up to a man in motion. That's Houston. Houston with some blockers in front of him. Gets up past the 40. Trying to break it run. Up past the 50. And pushed out about at the 48-yard line. That'll move the chains to the George Wythe Maroons. First down on Grundy's side of the field.
And what a way to start off your offensive drive with Leighton Houston. Leighton Houston, he was our WXBX player of the game last week against Grayson County, and he's starting off strong in this one as well.
Picking up right where he left off in that game. First down, George Wythe. 1st and 10 from the Grundy 48-yard line. Tatum Smith will be out of the gun again. Already gained more yards on the ground than Grundy had on their first drive on the first play. Tatum Smith looks to the sideline, 5 seconds of the play clock. Man in motion, he takes the snap, makes the handoff, will run up the middle. Colston never has a blocker in front of him. He's on. Space to the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, George Wythe. No flag on the play. Tatum Smith, 48 yards down the left side. What a scamper for 6.
And I said it earlier, they need to stop Tatum Smith. He had to fake the whole way, and they bit for it too. They had Leighton Fowler coming along the edge on motion. He pulled it away from him. I'd say there were 3 defenders following Fowler. Didn't expect Tatum Smith to take it, and he was on to the house.
Beautiful run there, and great blocking on the outside by Luke Jolly as well. When Smith got into space, had one man to beat, but Jolly had him covered as he escaped for his 48 yards. The kick is up on the PAT, and it is good. Number 69, Thomas Mitchell, bangs that one through, and that brings our score to 7-0, George Wythe. And if you're a Grundy Golden Wave fan, you've got to be asking, what happened already? It's been less than 5 minutes since the start of the first quarter, and George Wythe didn't get the ball first, but they get a long touchdown.
A total of 6 plays have been played in this game, not including kickoff, and that's a strong way to start off with this George Wythe offense. They are definitely feeling themselves today. It definitely helps that they're in a home game because a lot of people think that home team advantage might not be a real thing, but it definitely has an impact on play.
The so-called 12th man in the stands is something that is very real in these types of football games, and you heard it there down the sideline as Tatum Smith was galloping. The entire fan base just exploded over here on this side. So George Wythe jumps out to the big momentum and the big early lead in this football game.
And let's talk about the hole that opened up for Tatum Smith as well. He had a tremendous amount of blocking up front to be able to break through like that.
Also the tremendous fake in the backfield. You alluded to it as in your analysis there when they had Leighton Fowler come in motion. He faked the handoff, and Grundy did not see that coming, and it was nothing but green grass ahead of Tatum Smith. Mitchell set to kick this ball deep. Back deep to receive will be Ian Scammell and number 9, John Bush. A split kick, angled towards number 1, Logan Lester. Lester trying to just get as much as he can before he's going to be taken down at the 40. They say he got up to the 41-yard line, and not much gain there, but again, it was a split kick. That's what all you're looking for.
And there was an up man for Grundy that was trying to pull his man forward as he was getting pushed back. It was quite humorous.
Almost the exact same starting field position of their first drive. They start from the 42 in the first drive. Now they start from their own 41. Grundy looking to bounce back as George Wythe leads it 7-0 after the huge rushing touchdown from Tatum Smith. 1st and 10, 10:06 remaining in the first quarter. They'll go with a full house gun set. Takes the snap, the direct snap to Ian Scammell. Scammell moving to the left, and a great tackle on the outside. He picks up 5 yards, good gain on first down. But Ben Jolly, that's Luke Jolly, comes in and makes the tackle. That had the potential to get a lot more.
That's an interesting formation to come up with, a direct snap to any of the 3 men in the back. That definitely adds a different factor of kind of mind games.
And, folks, that's a little bit of a Beer-style offense there. They have a quarterback, 2 running backs, and a fullback in the formation. Pitch to the outside for Ian Scammell. Scammell tries to get to the sideline and does, but not for much before he's pushed out of bounds. Gain of about 3 yards. First man there on the play. That looks like number 7, Brady Walters for the George Wythe Maroons. That'll bring a 3rd and medium.
And with the world's mind on soccer at the moment with the World Cup, it looked like with these rainy conditions, when he slid out of bounds, he went about 10 extra yards just on the slide.
They have been taking notes from the World Cup over in Qatar. 3rd and 5 from the 46-yard line. Grundy needs a first down to try to capture back some of that momentum. Same formation, shotgun set. They take the snap. It'll be a snap back to Ian Scammell. Scammell runs up the middle, but there's nothing home. The George Wythe Maroons defensive line tremendous to start off this game, and that'll bring us fourth and medium.
And you can see the emotion in the players as they get these big stops on the game. They are having the time of their lives out there.
And important, Grundy, they may consider going for this as they bring out this offense. May just try to get George with jump off sides, but seems like the punt unit is not out there at the moment. 4th and 5 from the 46. It will be the offense out there. Back deep in the shotgun set to receive will be Ian Scammell, so a bit of wildcat. Man in motion, fakes the snap. 2 seconds in the play clock, and they will not get George with jump off sides. That was an interesting attempt. They called timeout. We'll keep it right here. They ran some wildcat, ran some motion, trying to get George to jump off sides, but in the end, George would stay disciplined and stay whole, and Grundy will most likely punt.
And something interesting I've seen in this Grundy team so far is they've got a lot of variability in their formations on offense. They really, they trust a lot of it to Ian Scammell or Isaiah Boyd, but they really trust the backs on their team to be able to memorize all of these different positions and run these different plays.
It's important to note when you're talking about this George Wythe team as well, a couple of games this year they did have some issues, and them and Fort Chiswell also giving penalties up, giving free yardage along those lines. But today, and for the past little bit, they've been relatively much more disciplined than normal. As Grundy comes back out and is set to punt this football away.
Last game we had issues with delay of game penalties, but it seems like as of right now, things are going clean.
And they may have gotten George Wythe for 12 men on the field. We'll see. The flag stays in the pocket. I'm a little surprised. Ian Scammell kicks this football towards the far sideline. It goes out of bounds at the 27. But George Wythe, they were still subbing players. I'm a little surprised that they didn't call it for too many men on the field.
It was a little close. I mean, he probably was still on the field when the ball was snapped, but I feel like they kept it in their pocket, let it go, because he was definitely not going to be in the play.
Ian Scammell, you can see his jersey out there already. Grundy in all white uniforms, but his entire jersey is almost caked with mud already, number 25 in the safety position.
That was from his slide earlier.
Shotgun set for Tatum Smith. Man in motion. We have a flag on the play as Leighton Houston was coming to get in the jet sweep, and it'll be a false start procedure penalty on the George Wythe Maroons. That'll back them up 5 yards, and that's not the start you wanted after that big stop.
And we were just talking about penalties. This team has become very disciplined over the last few games, but they starting off early with a false start penalty, they're going to have to keep their head in the game.
The age-old announcer shinks up here. Shotgun set again. 1st and 15, ball 23. Leighton Houston comes in motion, takes the snap. Smith will fake the handoff, go up the middle, picks up what he can. It's about 4 yards there on first down, almost back to the original chains. With good job by Grundy converging on the play.
And Grundy, they really saw that one come through. The hole opened up, but he wasn't able to get a lot of yards like he did previously. There weren't as many blockers getting into the actual depth of field.
Tackle made by number 48, Carson Deal for the Golden Wave. 2nd and 11 from their own 27-yard line. 8-10 remaining. Shotgun set, empty backfield. Tatum Smith sends a man in motion at Houston. Takes the snap, will fake the handoff to keep it himself again. Pressure, bounces to the outside, has a blocker in front of him. Stays on his feet, still moving. Up past the 30-yard line, and will finally be brought down at about the 33. Good job there by Tatum Smith. Almost looked like he was going to be stuffed in the backfield, but he found a way to bounce to the outside.
It was definitely close. He had number 63. He was with Captain Logan Looney. Almost had him in the backfield, but he was able to kind of do a drop step and was able to get through to the outside, bouncing around.
That's why it's important to set the edge so runs like that don't happen. Grundy still prevent a first down. 3rd and 5 from their own 33. 7:30 to go. Tatum Smith, shotgun set, takes the snap. We have a flag. It's going to be another false start against the George Wythe Maroons. Not sure who that was on, but that's a backbreaker. That'll put them back to 3rd and 10 here on 3rd down.
Seems like they might be a little too excited out there, as that's another false start penalty early in the game and the second one in this drive.
They do a great job of staying onside on the hard count, but they give back 2 penalties on this drive already. 3rd and 10 from the 28. 7-0 is the score in favor of the George Wythe Maroons. Shotgun set, Tatum Smith takes the snap, drops back, he wants to throw. Pressure, throws down the seam for Ben Jolly. Jolly threw his hand, incomplete. In coverage for the Golden Wave was number 12, Isaiah Boyd, and he almost had it. I think that's what happened. The hands went up in front of Jolly. He didn't think that ball was there, but a beautifully thrown ball from Tatum Smith. Ball's incomplete.
It was just over the outreached hands of Isaiah Boyd to that was just insane. That was a great pass, especially with the conditions out there. That ball, it's probably a little dry. They probably dry it off every time they bring it in. But there's no way it's not at least a little bit wet from the ground.
And that was about a 25-yard pass down the field, right on the money. If Ben Jolly had been able to come up with that, he might still be running. But punt unit will come out for George Wythe as they still lead 7-0. 7:14 remaining in the first quarter. Colton Green set to punt this football deep to Ian Scammell. Snap is high, but Colton Green comes down with it. He sends this punt away. It's a low kick. Angled towards the near sideline. Takes a big George Wythe bounce. It's still rolling all the way down inside the 20-yard line, and it'll be down at the 17. So talk about flipping field position. Colton Green goes from his own 20 to the other 20.
Colton Green, that was a solid kick. I mean, he's definitely had kicks that have gone higher, but he was able to get a good roll on it, and the way the football hits the ground, it just kept going.
It was not quite the booming punt that we've been seeing from him here recently, but it works just about the same distance-wise, like you alluded to. A great roll for George Wythe as Grundy will take over from their own 18. Here come the Golden Wave. 7:03 remaining in the first quarter. Full house set. They send a man out in motion. Now they're going to shift the entire offensive line, looking for some trickeration as Ian Scammell goes under center. They'll snap it to Scammell to the outside, but he's going nowhere after a gain of about 3. Beautiful job there. Believe that may have been Leighton Fowler that got back there and made the tackle. And George Wythe, they're not missing tackles right now, wrapping up, doing a beautiful job.
I'll tell you what, they faked the reverse, but they were prepared even if the reverse came over. Leighton Houston and Brady Walters were prepared for that reverse to come through in the second handoff.
2nd and 7 at the 21-yard line. Grundy without a first down in this game. Full house shotgun set. Takes the snap. The snap to Scammell again. Scammell to the outside. Has the blocker in front of him. Gets it to Simoes. Open space. Up to the 40. 45. Pushed out of bounds just at the 40. They're going to say he stepped out at the 44-yard line. And I just mentioned it. No first downs. That's their first one. Great job blocking up front for Scammell to get to the outside.
And Scammell, he tried to put on the speed there. He really hit the outside edge. Incredible. Just the ability to be able to pick when you're going to cut up field. It's really a skill that is valuable in this kind of running offense.
Ian Scammell has been the man for Grundy so far. And they'll go under the pistol now. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff, going to the left side, and picks up okay yardage, maybe gain of 3 on first down. That was Logan Lester on the carry as he picked up 2 or 3 yards. Good tackle made by the front 7. That'll bring up 2nd and long.
Logan Lester, a fellow Logan out there playing football, ran immediately into a wall as he tried to cut across the edge. I don't even know if he could have been able to go more outside, as there was really not a lot of options for him there.
George Wythe leads this game 7-0. Grundy got the football first in this game as well. 2nd and 7 from the 47-yard line. 5:45 left to play in the first quarter. Under center is Isaiah Boyd. Takes the snap, pitches to the outside for Scammell, fakes the reverse to Boyd, and it will be a gain of about 4 yards there on second down. It gets just inside the 50 to George Wythe territory. That was Ian Scammell, and that'll bring up 3rd and 4.
And that's another fake reverse play that they've had. So they definitely have the option. And I'm wondering if that is an option or if that is the set play to go with the fake.
Do have to make a correction. It was Logan Lester on the fake reverse. You have to think they're going to be potentially handing that ball off to the reverse here soon at some point as well. 3rd and 4. Ball placed at the 49-yard line. Takes the snap to Scammell, moving to the left. He's pressure, gets to the outside, and moves the chains for the Grundy Golden Wave. He'll go out of bounds at the 44-yard line. George Wythe even doing a good job trying to get there, but Grundy's blocking up front, paves the way. And that's the exact, they are running the same formation, the same play to the same side, saying, hey, George Wythe, stop it.
I mean, that's when you have such a strong run offense that like Grundy has, that's really what you need to do. You need to kind of break their spirit a little bit by doing the same thing over and over and showing to them that, hey, there's nothing you can do to stop this.
1st and 10 from the 44, 4:56 left to play in the first quarter. Takes the snap, does Boyd. Drops back, he wants to throw. Looking pressure, and the backfield rolls out to his right, staying on his feet, and he's going to be taken down at the 50-yard line. Leighton Fowler gets back there and slams him down. Nowhere for Isaiah Boyd to go. That'll be a loss of 6 on first down. Beautiful job not being fooled by that defense.
It looks like Leighton Fowler kicked it into another gear to be able to get that tackle. he is absolutely ecstatic out there. He is playing with a fire under his heart.
Energized out there as this crowd is acting as the amp for them after a 5-yard loss, a 5.5-yard loss on first down. It'll be 2nd and 15 from the 49. Grundy's got to get a play off. They have 6 seconds in the play clock. 7-0 is the score for George Wythe, and Grundy will be forced to take their second timeout of the first half already, as they were in danger of getting another delay of game penalty. And right there, again, that's what happens. When you have a play of that magnitude for George Wythe, it sets everything out of whack for Grundy. They're not used to being this far behind the chains, and they're forced to take another timeout early.
And that means that Grundy has 1 timeout remaining for the first half, and we're still in the first quarter. So that's definitely going to be a big impact later on in the quarter, as Grundy also elected to receive the ball at kickoff, so they will have to let George Wythe take it after halftime.
Again, as you said, George Wythe will get the ball first to start the second half. With 4:48 remaining here in the first quarter, they lead at 7-0. Want to go ahead and say thank you to our sponsors for today's action: Bland County Medical Clinic, Whitfield Community College, Wythe County Community Hospital, Wythe County Real Estate, Wythe Physician Practices, Bankers Insurance, Citizens, Front State Community Hospital, and Whitfield Office Supply. Thank you to the sponsors, and thank you to you, the listeners, for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. We hope that we can provide a good show and a good description for you as the George Wythe Maroons look to punch their ticket to Salem. 2nd and 15 from their own 49-yard line. Grundy goes under center. Takes the snap. Will pitch to the outside. It's a reverse to Scammell. Scammell moving to the outside, trying to get big yards. He has to beat Ben Jolly. Jolly makes the tackle at the 50-yard line. Ends up gaining nothing on the play. And if Scammell had been able to shake Jolly, he might still be running, but Jolly does a beautiful job following the hit.
And honestly, I thought Scammell got out to the outside and beat Jolly. Jolly had to kick it up. He was getting beat a little bit, but he was able to get that dive and wrap around the legs to stop him. Good job following the hips, like you said.
And it's interesting. They actually ran the reverse that time, and before it was Logan Lester that was the reverse back. That time it was Scammell, and they handed it off. So Scammell getting a big load early. 3rd and 16. Takes the snap, avoid pressure, and throws. That's a backwards pass. And they're going to say that's a backwards pass. So therefore, he will be out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Beautiful job. Layden Houston got there in a hurry, and he forces the quick throwaway. But in the process, it was a backwards lateral. The ball is spotted all the way back to the 37-yard line.
And it looked like Colton Green, he wanted a flag for intentional grounding there, but I think this is definitely the better result of that action.
Either way, it's a loss of yardage there, and 4th and a country mile. 4th and 29 is the final total as Layden Houston goes back to deep to receive. Keep an eye out. George Wythe in a very similar situation last week ran a fake punt and got a first down. You got to think they're going to be prepared for that.
And I mean, you got to think too. They've got Ian Scammell in the back as the punter.
Takes the snap to Scammell. He'll get this kick away, angled towards the near sideline. Coffin corner punt takes a George Wythe bounce, and it will be down at the 43. So George Wythe, for their 3rd offensive possession, has great starting field position. Similar spot where they started, where they scored on their first drive. And again, Grundy grinded out a couple of first downs there. When you're talking about this situation and the momentum plays that it comes down to, think no further than Layden Houston getting back there in a hurry and forcing that throwaway on 3rd and long.
This is definitely a defense-heavy team right now. They are really coming out and trying their best.
Tatum Smith shotgun set. He's got Ben Jolly to his right. Will take the snap. Hands the ball off to Jolly up the middle. Jolly following his blockers, following the hole up past the 50-yard line. Still on his feet. Pile still moving all the way up to the 44-yard line. That'll move the chains for George Wythe. 1st and 10 all the way up to the 44. Magnificent job by the offensive line and Jolly.
It's like on a play, every yard gain, this crowd gets slightly louder. And as he kept moving the pile, it just seemed like it started going exponentially higher.
3:40 left to play in the first quarter. George Wythe has it 1st and 10 at the Grundy 44. They lead it 7-0. Tatum Smith out of the gun will take the snap. Hands the ball up the middle to Ben Jolly. Jolly shrugs off one tackler and gets taken down just outside the 35. Marking down at the 36, picks up almost all of what he needed on first down. And Ben Jolly right there, the strength, just throw a defender off of him right there in the open field.
And if you notice, the 2 dirtiest jerseys out there are the 2 star players for Grundy. That is 12 Isaiah Boyd and 25 Ian Scammell, as they have picked up a lot of responsibility, and typically you don't want to see your quarterback's jersey dirty like that.
They have been shouldering the load for the most part in this game. Smith takes the snap, hands ball up the middle to Ben Jolly. This time Jolly's going to be stonewalled, got back to the line of scrimmage before he got slung down. First man there on the play with number 60. That is Ryan Campbell, and it will bring up 3rd and short for the Maroons.
And this is going to be a big 3rd down. I mean, I think as of right now, the way George Wythe has been playing, this is 4th down territory if they get there.
Tend to agree with you on that standpoint. 3rd and 1 from the 35-yard line. George Wythe looking to move the chains. One receiver out wide to the right, one to the left. Smith will take the snap at the quarterback, power up the middle, follows his blocker, and gets swung down and thrown forward up to the 31-yard line. That'll move the chains to the George Wythe Maroons. 1st and 10.
He says slung down, but I think that's a little nice. He was suplexed onto the ground. That was a hard hit with the soft dirt out there.
Taylor Smith amping the crowd up, doing a little celebration, pointing for the 1st down. I think he'll take that little extra hit for that 1st down any day of the week. 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. 2 minutes left to play in the 1st quarter. 7-0 is the score. Shotgun set. Takes the snap to Smith. Fakes the handoff. Will roll up the middle. Following his blockers. Gets to the open field. Still on his feet. Taken down just outside the 20-yard line up to the 21. And based on that spot, should be enough for another Maroons 1st down.
And Tatum Smith is taking a lot of hard hits out there. We rely on him a lot for these special runs, as we've seen him do some tremendous things in open field. But this is definitely a different kind of defense hitting on them.
And there's still some discussions about whether or not it's going to be a 1st down. Based on the spot up here, yes, and the head official has now pointed and said it's going to be a 1st down. You think Tatum Smith wants to make it to Salem with his effort right now, because he is playing a whale of a ball game to start off this game?
I think it's going to come down to who wants it more. And you know, I say that a lot, but that's really what it is, a battle of willpower out there between 2 powerhouse teams.
1st and 10 from the Grundy 21-yard line. 1:45 left to go in the 1st quarter. Shotgun set. Made a motion at Houston. Takes the snap. Will fake the handoff to Smith up the middle. And a juke move. Got some separation, but he doesn't gain much as he gets up to about the 19-yard line. Good move by Smith, but still Grundy had that one covered.
And it looked like Grundy's defensive line, they knew that they weren't going to be able to beat someone in the motion, so they decided to bite on a fake rather than following the man in motion.
George Wythe does that quite a bit. They just mix up whether it's going to Houston or Smith keeping it. 2nd and 8 at the 18-yard line. Out of the gun. Made a motion as Houston. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff, but he wants to throw this time. Smith throws it to the outside for Houston, and it falls incomplete. Smith, I think, rushed the throw a little bit as there was a little bit of pressure, and it falls through the hands of Houston. And that'll bring up 3rd and long.
It looks like he might have also tried to throw it where he wanted him to be, but Leighton Houston, he was kind of running backwards and didn't really have a lot of mobility in that position.
Houston trying to find a soft spot over near that sideline, and I think just, again, Smith, a little bit too far in front of it. 3rd and 8. Ball placed at the 18-yard line. It'll go out with an empty shotgun set. 7-0 is the score still in favor of George Wythe. A minute left to play. Tatum Smith, man in motion, takes the snap, will hand the ball up to Leighton Fowler. This time Fowler follows his blockers, gets up to the 10-yard line, still on his feet, gets put down at the 9. That should be enough to move the chains, and that'll make it 1st and goal for the George Wythe Maroons.
And George Wythe is putting their will on the game here. They are absolutely rolling on offense right now.
A beautiful job there, once again, by Leighton Fowler. And we've seen Leighton Houston be the exclusive man in those jet sweeps. That time they switch it up and give it to Fowler. Fowler lowers his shoulder and does the work. 1st and goal from the 9. Empty shotgun set. Man in motion as Fowler takes the snap to Smith. We have a whistle before the stop of the play. It's going to be offsides against Grundy. That'll move them forward half the distance to the goals to put them up right near the 5-yard line. And that 1st and goal from the 9 looks a lot less daunting now that it's at the 5.
And this George Wythe team, it looks like they've been practicing some new offensive sets, as we typically never see Tatum Smith in the backfield without a running back beside him. And now we're running some sets with him lone back there, and we got 2 in slots.
Have to give credit to Coach Harner down on the sideline. Never let your opponent know your next move. And he's done that so far. 30 seconds left to go in the 1st quarter. George Wythe has it 1st and goal at the 5. Ben Jolly will be to the right of Smith out of the gun. He's got two receivers out wide to the right, none to the left. Takes the snap. Will keep it himself, following his blockers. Tanner Smith looking for his second score of the game. Did he get there? Yes, he did. Tandem Smith, 5-yard rushing touchdown, and that will bring the lead to a two-possession game in favor of the George Wythe Maroons. Beautiful job on the blocking up front. Tanner Smith breaks the play.
And nobody wants this win more than Tandem Smith, as he has been imposing his power all over this Grundy defense. He had the first score earlier on, 45 yards, just absolutely broke through the hole and got through it. And this time, he still makes the hole, but has to battle his way through defenders to be able to get a touchdown.
The snap is good. The kick is up, and it's through the upright. Thomas Mitchell attacks on another one, makes it 14-0. And how about the blocking there from Ben Jolly, coming from the running back position, got ahead of his quarterback, and with the help of the offensive line, created that hole for Smith to get through and get over the goal line.
And that's something that this team does very well, is they have good blocking in the defensive back to linebacker range. They're able to get back there and stop players from being able to kind of follow down the sideline.
Definitely a dream start here for the George Wythe Maroons. As we expected this game, we expected George Wythe's offense to be tough, but we did not expect 14-0 this early in this game. They have been outstanding so far to start.
And if Grundy wants to get back into it, they're going to have to make some adjustments. They're going to have to really come out with something that's going to surprise George Wythe, as they started to get their run game a little bit in their last drive.
14 seconds left to play here in the first quarter, and Thomas Mitchell gets set to kick this football out to the Grundy Golden Wave. Back deep to receive will be John Bush and Ian Scammell, if they decide to kick it deep. But Mitchell has been deciding to kick squib kicks as of late.
And they will break the huddle, and Mitchell will be getting his steps in to kick it away.
14-0. George Wythe has 3 timeouts left in the first half. Grundy with only 1. The kick is away, and it's going to be angled towards the near sideline. It's deep up to the 10-yard line, fielded by Ian Scammell. Scammell trying to follow his blockers, cuts back towards the middle of the field, into the open space, and he's finally brought down by Brady Walters just inside the 35. Touchdown saving tackle there from Walters, and that will bring up 1st and 10 at the 37.
It seemed like a last-ditch effort to kind of dive out and grab his legs, as he was hitting the hole with stride, and he was getting some speed on him.
Great job by Walters. Also being blocked on the play, was able to get off his block, and again, like you said, make the last-ditch effort to bring him down at the 37. They'll go with a full house set out of the pistol. Takes the snap, hands ball up the middle for Ian Scammell. Scammell, nothing home. Actually, they say he fell forward, picked up a couple yards there on first down. That'll end the first quarter as Scammell picks up a couple of yards there, 2nd and 8. We're going to go ahead and take a 60-second break by the end of the first quarter. Our score, George Wythe leading at 14-0 over the Grundy Golden Wave here in this VHSL semifinal matchup. We'll see you back here in 60 seconds here on 95.3 WXBX. Welcome back to the VHSL 1A state semifinal game here from Pendleton Field on 95.3 WXBX. Blake Holmes here alongside Logan Porter and our game station engineer and studio operator Willis Williams back at the studio. It is 2nd and 8 at the 39-yard line. Takes the snap, does Isaiah Boyd, wants to throw out into the outside, and a completion is made to Logan Lester past the 6th, all the way up to the 49-yard line. That'll move the chains for Grundy as they trail 14-0. Beautiful throw there from Isaiah Boyd.
And that was kind of an interesting coverage on Logan Lester, as they kind of had protection deep and up front, but they didn't have him around him. They had it kind of out 5 yards each way from him.
Seems like they sold out on the run and then ended up just sitting at some deep man. Again, Lester finding the soft spot. 1st and 10 from the 49. It'll be a pitch to the outside for Scammell. Scammell picks up about 3 yards there on first down before he's taken down. First man there was number 2, Luke Jolly, along with number 68, Owen Repass. And it will be a gain of about 3 on first down.
And Scammell, he's about 1/4 of the way of turning his jersey to a complete brown from the mud sliding in, as he's been had a lot of weight on his shoulders as he's been running around the edges a lot.
Safe to say it will be a little hard to determine to use him on big plays now. They'll shift the line. They'll come out of the gun. 2nd and 8. Takes the snap, does Boyd. He throws to the outside for Lester. And his screen pass. Lester makes the catch, and he's taken down outside of the 45-yard line. A beautiful tackle made in the play by Layden Houston. Oh, it's Brady Walters who makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd and 5.
And Brady Walters, he made the initial contact, and as he was going down, was able to wrap his arms around the legs and bring him down as well. So that was some good athleticism there to bring him down on the fall.
10:45 left to go in the first half. 3rd and 5 for the Grundy Golden Wave. This may be 4-down territory for Grundy, depending on what happens here on 3rd down. Shotgun set again with a fullback in the formation. Takes the snap. It's a direct snap to Scammell, moving to his left. Scammell contacted, but the pile's still moving before he's finally brought down just inside the 45 before he gets brought down. And that'll bring up 4th and short, 4th and 4.
Scammell lost his helmet, so he's going to have to come out for a play as well. And he's the guy that they've been relying on. But it looks like they're going to go for a punt, possibly. No, they're talking to their quarterback. It looked like they were going out of bounds.
The only way they can avoid Scammell coming out for a play is if they use a timeout, but they only have one remaining. It'll be interesting to see what happens here.
Now that I think about it, Scammell is their punter. So there's no way they're going to be able to do that.
And they may try to catch George Wythe off guard. Quick offense here on 4th and 4. They take the snap. Isaiah Boyd drops back to throw. Wants to throw to Lester. Lester makes the catch. Throw a huge hit on the play. That'll move the chains to the George Wythe Maroons. Coming in to make that hit was Ben Jolly, but Lester hangs on. Good play there from Grundy. Caught George Wythe on their heels.
And that's what you're going to need to do to go up against the defense as solid as George Wythe, is you're going to have to catch them off guard. And I definitely think they were expecting a run on that hurry-up offense.
1st and 10 from the 37. Grundy already throwing the ball more than usual in a game like this. Ball placed at the 37. 9.5 minutes left to go in the 2nd quarter. I formation. Takes the snap. It'll be a pitch to the outside. They want to throw it. Ian Scammell down the sideline. Great coverage on the outside. It's incomplete. Brady Walters gets his hand in there and knocks that one down. You can hear on this side. Trickeration from Grundy goes for naught. Beautiful coverage from Walters.
And Walters, I mean, like you said, he was able to use his whole body and the length of his arms to be able to prevent his Logan Lester from being able to see what the ball was. Honestly, that was a good trick, as well as they were wholeheartedly expecting Scammell to run it along that sideline.
Looks similar to a box out in basketball there from Walters. Great job as he knocked that ball to the grass. 2nd and 10 from the 37. Shotgun set. Takes the snap. They'll hand the ball to number 2, Ethan Roberts. Roberts breaks into the open field before he's taken down just short of the 1st down marker. Takes some good yardage there, as they were expecting Scammell to get the ball, but Roberts says, I'm here too.
And that's what you're going to need to do, is you're going to have to switch up your players, because they can't expect Scammell to continue this level of play throughout the whole game if he's constantly having the ball in his hands.
3rd and 1. Ball is currently placed at the 28-yard line. Under center, takes the snap as Boyd. Boyd with a quarterback sneak. The pile keeps pushing, still moving. My goodness, all the way up to the 20-yard line. And that's a 7-yard gain there on 3rd and short on a quarterback sneak. That'll move the chains for Grundy. They got a lot of strength up front.
And with their size, I mean, after the snap, there was already 2 yards gained just from the offensive line taking their step. So that's a lot of size and strength on this offensive line. I noted earlier, this is a heavy sophomore and senior team, but their most seniority is on the line.
1st and 10 from the 20. Shotgun set. Takes the snap, does Boyd. Boyd wants to throw. Steps back, throws to the end zone. He's got a man wide open, and it was just overthrown. Intended receiver was Logan Lester. He got away from his 2 coverage men, but the throw was just a little too strong as it falls out of the back of the end zone.
It seems like Logan Lester is their go-to target at wide receiver when they're looking for a pass, and they're passing surprisingly a lot more than we expected.
Logan Lester currently listed on our roster as a sophomore, 5'10", 165. Putting a lot of trust into him is Isaiah Boyd. 2nd and 10 from the 20. Clock stopped at 8:20 in the first half. 14-0 is the score in favor of George Wythe. Under center is Boyd. He'll take the snap, fake the pitch, tries to go to the outside with no blockers, and a magnificent tackle in the backfield. There's that man again. Ben Jolly gets back there and gets him by the hips. That'll lose yardage on 2nd down, and an outstanding tackle there from Jolly.
I don't know if you noticed, but they had an unbalanced line, and I think they were trying to get them to expect to go to a strong side, but he instead went around to the weak side, but they were ready for both directions.
And you have to wonder in some ways if it was a little bit of a busted play because he ended up running to no one. There were no blockers on that side. You say obviously unbalanced, but there were no blockers at all in front of him, so could have been a busted play as well. Under center is Boyd. 3rd and 11. Takes the snap, fakes the pitch, wants to throw, rolled out pressure, has to get rid of it, and he just throws that one out into the flat with no one home. That'll bring it 4th and 11. And now for Grundy, you have to go for it here on 4th and 11. Let's see if they have a 12-yard play.
And I would be expecting them to look for Logan Lester. So it looks like it's going to be Brady Walters on that side. He's going to need to be prepared for the pass play on this one, but you're going to need your defensive line to do what they do and stay home just in case.
Brady Walters, their main coverage guy. It'll be him and Austin repass on the outside. 4th and 11. Ball placed at the 21-yard line. Grundy's going to go. 14-0 is the score. Shotgun set here. Takes the snap. It'll be Boyd. Drops back. Wants to throw. Throws out into the flat near the marker. And the receiver slips. His knee hits the ground. I believe that was number 2, Ethan Roberts. And that will turn it over to George Wythe as the foot slid and the knee touches.
And it's slippery out there. I mean, I've had to play a lot in these kind of conditions. It's hard to get your foot down in a muddy condition, even with cleats on. And I was a lineman, so just imagine how difficult it is for these skill players trying to juke around and be able to make moves in the open field.
Roberts caught the ball right at the chains and tried to plant his foot and cut. His foot slid on the play. So George Wythe takes over 1st and 10 for 21. Shotgun set, 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Leighton Fowler in the backfield takes the snap. Smith will hand the ball to Fowler. Fowler gets to it up the field. Blocker in front of him, but a beautiful tackle from behind made by number 12, Isaiah Boyd. Still moves the chains for George Wythe. Leighton Fowler runs hard.
And he had a deep blocker from Luke Jolly way downfield as well. So if he could have beat that man, he had the man to protect him to get down for the touchdown, but ultimately was brought down after a big game.
You have to start asking the question, can the Grundy Golden Wave just stop this offense? As it seems like George Wythe's basically doing whatever they want to do on the offensive end right now, and as they move the chains.
Like I said, it's down to willpower, and this team wants it more, the whole team.
7 minutes left to play in the first half. Smith will take the snap, fake a handoff, wants to throw, but he's going to be pressured, and a face mask penalty is going to come in as Tandem Smith was taken down for a 5-yard loss. But a face mask in the backfield from Grundy will move the ball forward for the George Wythe Maroons. At least that's what we assumed the penalty was.
And it looked like we saw his face snap back. And personal foul.
So it's automatic. It was first down regardless. Automatic first down and 15 yards from the spot of the foul. So Grundy, even when they stop Tandem Smith in this offense, they give up yardage on the face mask.
And you cannot give up penalties like that, especially when you get an electric moment that lights a fire under your defense. It's all taken away.
1st and 10 from their own 44-yard line. Tandem Smith out of the gun. He's got Leighton Fowler to his right. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Man in motion, takes the snap. Will hand the ball off to Houston in motion with blockers in front of him. Cuts back towards the middle of the field, up at the 50, another cut, and he gets taken down at the 47-yard line of Grundy. Not quite enough to move the chains, but still, the blocking up front or on the outside sets up that run from Leighton Houston.
And that was something special from Houston. He was able to put an arm or a forearm into the back of his blocker, I believe it was Ben Jolly, and was able to follow him. And when he saw that they were running out of room, he was able to cut back and dodge another defender coming along on the outside.
2nd and 2 from their own from the Grundy 47-yard line. 6:05 remaining here in the first half. Shotgun set. Takes the snap. Will hand the ball off the middle to Fowler. Fowler contacted, but he shrugs off the tackler. Gets up past the 40-yard line before he's taken down at the 39. That'll move the chains for George Wythe, and the drive continues here with just under 6 minutes to go.
And this George Wythe offense is absolutely rolling. They've got 2 touchdowns early on in the game, and they are just imposing their strength and power and speed on top of this Grundy defense.
Winner of this game will play the winner of Essex and Riverhead, set to start at 2 p.m. in Salem next week. for the state championship. 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. Shotgun set. Tandem Smith will take the snap. He'll hand the ball off to Fowler. Fowler bounces this run to the outside, up to the 45, or he is cut down on the play by Isaiah Boyd. He gets up to the 37-yard line. Excuse me, that's the 33-yard line, and that will be about 6 yards on first down.
And they are relying a lot on the sweeps, as it seems like I don't think they've ran it up the middle really hardly at all.
2nd and 4 from the 34-yard line. 14-0 is the score in favor of the George Wythe Maroons. Pistol set. Takes the snap. Will fake the handoff. He wants to throw. Looks for a man to the outside. He's got it. Leighton Houston makes the catch and will get into the end zone. Touchdown, George Wythe. Leighton Houston gets down the sideline, makes the catch at the 5, and walks in. Beautiful throw there from Tandem Smith, and it's a 3-possession ball game.
And Ethan Roberts was the man in coverage there. He had to guard 2 people, and he had to make a decision, and he decided to follow the man that was coming inside, but Leighton Houston kept running that straight route and was able to get the pass. He was almost wide open the whole way.
And a beautiful throw there and great vision there from Smith. Great play call as well. 2 receivers in that formation as the kick is up and blocked. So it will end up being no good. 20-0 will be the score. But one corner out there had to make a decision. Smith fought him off with his eyes, made the throw to the outside. Leighton Houston gets his third touchdown in the past 2 weeks.
Once they make that separation, and you have to, as a quarterback, decide which way you're going to go. And like you said, they like to follow the eyes. That's how you tell where they're going, and he wasn't able to tell very well on that play.
Again, unbelievable job there as the George Wythe Maroons lead 20-0 with 4:46 remaining, and they're going to get the ball to start the second half as well. If you're a Grundy Golden Wave fan, you've got to be saying, right now, we've got to make a response.
They have to do something. They really do. This drive, they need a touchdown in order to keep their spirits up in this game. This is 2 champions in VHSL, the Region D versus the Region C. So both of these teams are no slouch to go up against.
And a scoring update in the realm of 3A football, Heritage leads Christiansburg 36-0 as the Blue Demons run might be coming to an end here in the state semifinal. Set to kick this football deep will be number 69, Thomas Mitchell. Another scoring update in the world of college football, Kansas State leads TCU 14-10 in the Big 12 championship just before halftime, and Toledo leads Ohio 10-7. The kick is up and away. It's a squib/onside kick fielded by one of the up men. They'll go straight down. That was number 88 for the Grundy Golden Wave. The tight end on the play, that is Jonah Looney. He'll just fall to the ground. Golden Wave get it at the 40.
It looked like he was going to try to do a reverse there, but he ended up kind of slipping on the mud out there, fell straight to the ground. Didn't get quite what he wanted, but ultimately still at the 40-yard line has decent field position.
1st and 10 from the 40 here. Under center, takes the snap. They'll hand the ball off to Ian Scammell. Scammell jump cut, gets up to the 44-yard line before he's taken down. An important, interesting thing there, Logan Lester served as the quarterback in that play, handed the ball.
And they definitely have an interesting offense. They don't have it seems like they don't really have a set quarterback. On our roster, we have Isaiah Boyd as the set quarterback, but they really switch it up.
Interesting, they actually refer to some of their players as skill backs, and that's exactly what's happening here. Shotgun set, they'll take the snap and hand the ball off to Ethan Roberts. Roberts following his blocker, stays on his feet. He's taken down just in front of the 50-yard line, and it'll be 3rd and short. 50-yard line to the yard to gain. Good run there for Ethan Roberts.
And Roberts was battling for those yards as well. He had a whole swarm of the Maroons on top of him as the ball gets thrown in and hit Colton Green. But he was able to really battle to gain those yards. They're going to hurry up offense here.
3rd and short, under center. We have a whistle and a timeout taken here by George Wythe. We're going to keep it right here during this timeout. They saw right there was probably going to be a quarterback sneak there from the quarterback, but Coach Horner wants to talk things over. I think that's probably a good call here with 3:44 remaining and 3 timeouts.
And it likely in this situation you would expect a quarterback sneak, but we've seen a situation like this similar where the ball gets snapped over to Isaiah Boyd and he flips it out real quick over into the flats. So you got to be careful. You need to get your corners up close and personal in order to prevent that.
Coach Horner's just trying to ensure that his defense is stiffened up. I want to say thank you to the sponsors of today's actions once again: Bland County Medical Clinic, Whitfield Community College, Wythe County Community Hospital, Wythe County Real Estate, Wythe Physician Practices, Bankers Insurance, Citizens, Princeton Community Hospital, and Whitfield Office Supply. Also, be sure to stick around during the halftime break as we have the WXBX halftime show presented by the Bank of Rural Retreat. As we'll be talking about what we just heard in that first half and be keeping an eye out on some other games. Again, the winner of this game will play the winner of Essex and Riverhead. That game's set to kick off at 2 o'clock. 3rd and 1 at the 49-yard line. Grundy trying to get back onto George Wythe territory. 3:44 remaining here in the first half. Takes the snap, quarterback sneak right up the middle. That line once again moving the pile, and he gets taken down at the 45-yard line. Once again, a beautiful job from that front seven, and that was Isaiah Boyd again.
And this, like we said earlier, this is kind of going to be a trench battle as we have a lot of big size and seniority on this Grundy line, but we've also got that same kind of feeling on this defensive George Wythe line.
Shotgun set for Grundy. 1st and 10 to the 44. Takes the snap, will hand the ball off to Roberts. Roberts cuts back up towards the middle. Picks up good yards there on first down before being taken down by Brady Walters. That'll be a gain of about 4.5, 5 yards. That'll make it for 2nd and medium with 3:10 left to go.
It looks like they're letting Ian Scammell get a little bit of a rest here.
Hurry up offense here from Grundy. Takes the snap. We'll have a reverse handoff on the outside, but he's going nowhere. Gain of about nothing as they finally end up blowing the whistle. Luke Jolly came in and made the tackle as he stonewalled Isaiah Boyd. They'll lose a yard on 2nd down. Excellent recognition there from Luke Jolly.
And Luke Jolly was able to follow around. It looked like he was expecting the reverse, and they do a good job of that, being able to set the edge on both sides, be able to stop any kind of trick play like a reverse to happen.
Had a broken collarbone earlier in the season. I think the collarbone's looking fine right there on that tackle. 3rd and 7. 3rd and 7 from the 39-yard line. Under center is Boyd. That's Lester. Takes the snap. A busted play, and he's going down immediately. Number 71 for the George Wythe Maroons. Brock Ayers gets in there and takes him down. And it looked like Lester wanted to hand the ball off up the middle, but the running back was not on the same page. That'll bring up 4th and long.
And Brock Ayers is a promising prospect on this George Wythe defensive line. He's a sophomore, 6'1", at 295 pounds. He's a big man out there.
A lot of muscle out there on that field. We have the final remaining timeout taken here from Grundy. You have to assume that if they're calling the timeout here, they're going to go for it on 4th and 8. If you recall and rewind back to last week, we saw a beautiful 2-minute drill ran by the George Wythe Maroons against the Grayson County Blue Devils to score with about 17 seconds left in the first half. If Grundy cannot pick up a first down right here, you look at the same time frame. Again, it's hard to complain with a 20-0 start, but just how big of a start is this for the George Wythe Maroons team?
This George Wythe team, they needed a big start like this, especially going up against Grundy, a team that they lost to earlier in the regular season. This puts their spirits up, and it shows how much they've improved since then.
Again, Grundy handled their business and defeated the George Wythe Maroons 42-28 in the game. They did not trail it. And now, looking like they could have flipped the script here, are the George Wythe Maroons as they are comfortably in the lead. Shotgun set this time, trips to the right. Isaiah Boyd's going to drop back. He wants to throw down the field into a soft spot. It's just overthrown. Had the safety beat on the play. Intended receiver was Logan Lester, and it falls incomplete. George Wythe will take over from their own 42-yard line. And that's the first time we've seen a true passing formation from Grundy.
And it looked like, that ball was placed perfectly to miss Luke Jolly, who was the safety coming in. He tried to swat at it, but it was coming straight down like a missile. There was no way he was going to be able to swat that one away.
And Lester, trying to make a leaping catch in the sideline, just could not come down with it. 1st and 10 from the 42. George Wythe leads at 20-0 with a minute 53 remaining in the first half. They have 2 timeouts left here on this drive. Smith will take the snap, tunnel screen to the outside, makes the catch to Houston. Houston breaks one tackle and gets up near the marker. We'll see what the spot is. I believe that'll be enough to move the chains, George Wythe.
That was Luke Jolly that got that pass. We haven't seen a lot out of him in actual passing lanes.
Good eye. It was Luke Jolly on the outside who makes the catch, and he moves the chains for George Wythe. Clock stops until the chains get reset. I believe he may have also went out of bounds on the play. So, no, he did not. So now they blow the ready-to-play whistle, and here we go. 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line of Grundy. Shotgun set. Ben Jolly to the right of Smith. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Grundy shows pressure. Takes the snap. Hands the ball up the middle of the bench. Jolly contacted. Gets through 2 different tacklers. Stays on his feet up to the 40-yard line. And, folks, it looked like he was going to go down after a loss of 2. And there he squirts out, gets up close to the 40-yard line.
He had 2 arms on him from 2 separate players, and he was still able to break through. They needed the big man, number 63, Logan Looney, to take him down.
2nd and 3 from the 41. Smith takes the snap at the screen to the outside for Brady Walters, but that ball skips to him. Don't think Smith ever actually got his hands on the laces, and it came off a little weird, and it will be incomplete. 3rd and 3.
And when you don't have that kind of grip on the lace, especially in the wet conditions we have right now, it is difficult to get it out. It's going to come out a little weird. You're not going to get that spiral, and it's going to kind of knuckleball in the air.
3rd and 3 from the 41. Might be 4-down territory for George Wythe if they don't pick it up here. 1:02 remaining here in the first half. Shotgun set for Tatum Smith and Ben Jolly to his left. Grundy, 2 deep safeties, takes the snap, throws to the outside, and he threw it to a receiver. It was Ben Jolly. He did not know the pass was coming, and it would have been a good throw, would have picked up the first down, but Jolly didn't see it coming. It falls to the ground.
It looked like Jolly, he was definitely the guy in the flat routes there. It looked like they were wanting him to look as soon as he got into the flats, but rather he was going to start looking after he started getting upfield.
It almost looked like Jolly wanted to run a wheel route and get down the sideline to try to set up a big passing play, but ends up falling in complete miscommunication. 4th and short from the 41. The offense is out on the field. 59 seconds left to play here in the first half. Smith will take the snap. He hands the ball off to Jolly. Jolly does just enough and will move the chains. The knee went down right at the marker. That should be enough to move and get a first down for George Wythe.
And that is what they expect to see. It looks like they're going to measure it real quick. Which they have a very interesting way of deciding. They're actually going to...
They are going to bring the chain gang out here to look at it.
Usually what they do is wherever the ball goes down, they lay it there and then bring out the chains. But they're not doing that this time around. They're actually taking it further out onto the field to see where it is.
And that is not a good spot. I'm going to be completely honest. It ends up being short and a turnover on down. Folks, I don't agree with that. It looked like Ben Jolly was a full yard past it whenever he first went down. But it'll be a turnover on down, so the ball goes back to Grundy. And Grundy with 55 seconds left to play, no timeouts. We'll see if they try to do something here.
And like I said, they're doing something different. There's something I've not really seen before, the way that they're trying to measure.
1st and 10 from the 38. Empty backfield here. Man in motion takes the snap. They'll hand the ball off to Ethan Roberts. Roberts going to the outside. He's got nothing home. Leighton Fowler comes in and makes the tackle. It's actually Logan Lester on the carry, but Fowler, like a bull, coming in the backfield and taking him down.
And that is a strong determination by this George Wythe Maroons defense to be able to stop the ball right there.
And Grundy, 30 seconds left from being shut out in the first half. Shotgun set for Isaiah Boyd. He'll take the snap. He'll hand the ball off to Ethan Roberts. Roberts moving to his right. Contacted, still on his feet, but gets back to the original line of scrimmage for being taken down. 18 seconds left to go here in the first half. We'll see if Grundy elects to run a play. 12 seconds now. 3rd and 10 from the 38-yard line. Under center takes the snap. They'll pitch it to the outside for Ian Scammell. Scammell contacted at the line of scrimmage and taken down. Clock stopped at 3 seconds. Timeout taken by George Wythe with 1 second remaining here in the first half. So they want to force Grundy to punt this football to Layton Houston and see what happens.
And that's what they're going to have to do. But I expect that this Grundy team, if they know what's good for them, they're probably just going to hand it off, let them run the clock out.
That or just have the quarterback take the snap and take a knee at that point. no way I'm giving Layton Houston any chance to return a punt after what he did last week against Grayson County.
But, hey, take the chance, you know. They might punt it away, and you can't take the timeouts with you into the second half. So take the chance and see if maybe they give you something.
So it'll be 4th and 8 from the 40. They're going to put 3 seconds on the clock here. And important to note here, if George Wythe, it looks like they may punt it away now with 3 seconds instead of just 1. But if Grundy decides to go for it here and they don't get it before those 3 seconds elapse, George Wythe has a chance to at least throw it up to the end zone. It'll be 4th and 8 from the 40. Back deep is Layton Houston. Ian Scammell handling punting duties for Grundy. 20-0 is the score in favor of the George Wythe Maroons. We have
he kneeled it.
It looks like there was, but okay, folks, that makes no sense. He kneeled it on 4th down. That would therefore stop the clock because that ends the drive. But both teams content they're going to the locker room, so an odd situation there. The George Wythe Maroons looking to punch their ticket to the VHSL state championship. They're off to a great start. They lead the Grundy Golden Wave 20-0 here in this VHSL 1A semifinal game. Logan, you guys point out one thing about this George Wythe team, one thing they're doing extremely well that has allowed them to break open this big lead. What's the one thing you're highlighting?
Well, I mean, first off, they're being creative. You know, they're switching up what they're doing on offense, but the big key that is helping them is they are just stonewalling this Grundy offense. Their defense has been tremendous today, and even when their drive starts to get good, once they get to the 40-yard line in enemy territory, they just stop them.
I'm glad you mentioned the defensive line because that was going to be my highlight as well. Seems like Grundy can't get really any offense going here as the defensive line has done a great job closing off the holes and limiting that separation the offensive line can create. Grundy's a very strong offensive line, a very strong team. George Wythe has just answered the call a little bit better than he would expect him to so far. 14:35 remaining now until the 3-minute warm-up period as we enter the WXBX halftime show presented by the Bank of Rural Retreat, offering the best home loans ever. We're going to take a 5-minute break to start off here. As when we come back, we'll break down what you just heard in that first half and give you a little bit of some context what to expect in the second half here from Pendleton Field. Back here, 5 minutes on 95.3 WXBX. Welcome back to Pendleton Field here at George Wythe High School as we are in the WXBX halftime show presented by the Bank of Rural Retreat, offering the best home loans ever. 20-0 is the score in favor of the George Wythe Maroons in a result that I don't think any of us really expected at this point in the football game. George Wythe, they've just been playing on another level, and we talked about it coming into the broadcast here. Is this team, compared to where they played Grundy earlier this season on the road, this is an entirely different ball club here, and they're showing it here with this big first half lead.
They definitely are. They came out into this game with a grudge. They had lost earlier in the season, and that kind of tainted their record a little bit. But they've come out here today, and they just absolutely flipped the script on them. They have done tremendous offensively and defensively, both.
Bit of a scoring recap here. Just a spoiler alert. It's all George Wythe at this point. As the game got started, Grundy did get the football. They won the toss and elected to receive here. They may be kicking themselves for that decision now, as they did not score. They went 3-and-out on their first drive. The Tandem Smith took it 48 yards to the house on the first drive for a house call. With 14 seconds left to go, Tandem Smith had a 5-yard touchdown run, and then he also has a passing touchdown with 4:46 remaining in the second quarter. He found Layton Houston on the outside at about the 5-yard line, and he walked into the end zone from there. So this game so far, obviously there have been a lot of playmakers here in this game, but this is Tandem Smith's world right now. We're all living in it here at the start of this game.
And I said it earlier on, this Grundy team is going to have to stop Tandem Smith, and they have done exactly the opposite of that. They have let him kind of show his willpower and put his strength on show and just absolutely decimate this team.
Bit of a scoring update as that game has just gotten started. The Riverhead Gladiators leads Essex 7-0 with 5:16 remaining in the first quarter. Important to keep an eye on that game as whoever wins this one will go to the Salem Coliseum to take on the winner of that game. So it could be the George Wythe Maroons taking on either the Riverhead Gladiators or the Essex Trojans. Either way would be a tough matchup. But they still have to handle their business here in the second half because this Grundy team, we know, obviously they didn't have much success on the offensive side on the first half, but tale of two halves is when it comes to a football game, and they still have a lot of time.
And like you said, there is a lot of time left on this clock, and a big key in late game situations like this is making adjustments. And George Wythe, they're usually really good at making adjustments, but in this case, they're really kind of just rolling on through. It's going to be up to Grundy to make the proper changes in order to be able to get back into this ballgame.
Another scoring update, Heritage dominates the Christiansburg Blue Demons, defeating them 43-0 on their way to the state championship in Class 3. A lot of state semifinal games being played today. Try to keep an eye out on some scoring updates for that as we get them. As there's a lot of big names here, a lot of big press here in this area. And the conditions do not seem to get much better here at George Wythe High School. The clouds are moving. It's a strong wind from right to left, but conditions will still continue to play a factor. And we said at the beginning of the broadcast that these conditions tended to favor Grundy, but it seems like they've been having more issues adjusting to these types of conditions than George Wythe did in that first half.
Another big thing to go on is there have been no turnovers in this game. Despite the rainy conditions, they're holding on to the ball very well, and they're even passing it quite a bit on both sides.
Aside from fourth down turnovers, there have not been any fumbles or interceptions. A good eye right there. And aside from a few meltdowns here and there really haven't been a ton of penalties either. Grundy had a bad face mask penalty, would have come on a sack, but instead it was a 15-yard penalty. George Wythe had 2 false start penalties in the same series earlier in the game, but they've been playing relatively mistake-free football. It's just this George Wythe defense, they're on another level right now against this Grundy offense.
So they are. This George Wythe defense is strong. Their defensive line is stonewalling them. They're setting edges, and the defensive backs, now that they're seeing kind of what this pass coverage looks like, they're really keeping a tight foothold on them.
State semifinal matchups here this week in VHSL, but when you're talking about in the realm of college football, it's conference championship week as Kansas State currently leads the undefeated TCU Horned Frogs 14-10, and TCU gets the ball to start the second half. TCU trying to punch their ticket to the college football playoff. LSU, Georgia, Clemson, North Carolina, and Purdue and Michigan, also important games to keep an eye out for the remainder of this game. As well as the United States men's national team in the World Cup, they have officially ended their run as they lost to the Netherlands 3-1 earlier today in what was an unfortunate match, but again, they will be back for the 2026 World Cup here in North America.
The Netherlands are a solid team.
The winningest team to never win the World Cup are the Netherlands. They're trying to change that fortune this year in Qatar. With 3:45 remaining here until the 3-minute warm-up period, we're going to go ahead and take a 3-minute break. We come back, we'll get you set and ready and give you some keys to victory in the second half for both sides and get you set and ready for second half kickoff from Pendleton Field. Back in 3 minutes on 95.3 WXBX. Welcome back to the VHSL State Semifinals here from Pendleton Field. Halftime show brought to you by the Bank of Royal Retreat, offering the best home loans ever. As we've got the George Wythe Maroons back out on the field, Grundy coming back out as well. Maroons looking to harbor that 20-0 lead they built up in the first half as the 3-minute warm-up period has begun here at Pendleton Field. Logan, if you had to give a key to the game for this George Wythe team to keep a stranglehold on it, what would you say that number one thing is?
Keeping the status quo. Really, that's what it's going to be. As their defense is so solid right now that they're really stopping them at the line. They're stopping them around the edge, and they've started to get a hold on the way that they pass the ball as well. And on the offensive side of things, George Wythe, they're just solid all around. I mean, they haven't really elected to pass a whole lot, but they have had success when they had. They had a touchdown pass to Leighton Houston earlier on in the game, and that was a touchdown.
Important, as you said, in order to keep everything the way it is for this football game for George Wythe. And it seems like offensively they can do no wrong. They're not past the ball because they really don't have to right now, as Grundy really has no answers. For the Grundy Golden Wave, in order to come back in this football game, it's got to start up front with the offensive and defensive lines either way. It seems like Grundy, no matter what they run on the offensive side, they can't find creases. They can't find holes in order to get that separation and get those yardages up front that they're used to getting on the ground. They're throwing the ball a little bit more than they normally do in this football game, but still, it's going to have to come from the offensive line. And on the defensive line, This George Wythe offensive line and on the outside, they're owning in the blocking. When it gets to the outside, they're not setting the edge. They're getting to the sidelines. They have blockers in front of them. It's going to have to just come down to a blocking battle in this game for Grundy.
And it comes down to this George Wythe defense. Their defensive ends are just as fast as these guys running the football, but they're stronger. And that's what's really making a difference when they're coming along the edge.
Want to say thank you to our sponsors one more time here in the halftime show. Bland County Medical Clinic, Whitfield Community College, Wythe County Community Hospital, Wythe County Real Estate, Wythe Physician Practices, Bankers Insurance, Citizens, Princeton Community Hospital, and Whitfield Office Supply. We are at today the WXBX halftime show presented by the Bank of Rural Retreat, offering the best home loans ever. We're going to take our final 60-second break of the halftime show. We come back, we'll have kickoff here. A second-half kickoff from Pendleton Field. Back in 60 seconds on Cool 95.3. Welcome back into the second-half kickoff here from the VHSL State Championship. On to attempt an onside kick. It looks like it's number 48, Carson Deal. He does, and it rolls towards Leighton Fowler. Fowler's just going to come up with it at about the 44-yard line. So George Wythe will start off with an easy onside recovery.
And that was something I wasn't really expecting. They kicked it to the long side of the field as well.
1st and 10 from the 44. George Wythe has it with 12 minutes left to go, and a 20-0 lead in the third quarter. Shotgun set. Leighton Fowler will be to the left. Now he shifts to the right of Tatum Smith. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff, and wants to throw. He's pressured, rolls out to the left, just gets rid of this, and it's going to go out of bounds. He throws this football away. And that'll bring up 2nd and 10. Good job in a response there from the Grundy defensive line. They were not fooled in the fake.
And they surrounded him. It looked like they were in the backfield as the handoff or the fake handoff was happening. And that was something we didn't expect. It looks like they started to make some proper adjustments to be able to stay in this one.
You have to give credit to Tatum Smith as well, having the presence of mind to just get rid of the football and avoid the lost yardage. 2nd and 10 from the 44. Tatum Smith out of the gun. Takes the snap. Will fake the handoff again. Wants to throw down the seam. Has the man wide open mid. Jolly makes the catch. Jolly into the open field. Gets past one man. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Give him 6. Ben Jolly. 56 yards down the seam. And he basically went untouched. Tatum Smith took a shot in the pocket. And that makes it a 26-0 ball game.
And Tatum Smith, he is limping a little bit off the field, but it looks like he's probably going to be okay in the long run. I mean, he's going to get a break on this play and then get ready to go back out on defense. But what a run by Ben Jolly to be able to slip past the defenders. It looked like he didn't know that safety was there as he turned around, but he was still able to get by.
On to attempt the extra point will be Thomas Mitchell as he tries to make it a 27-0 ball game. The snap is good, but a flag on the play. It's going to be on Grundy. That'll move them forward about a yard. And the George Wythe offense says, we're coming back out onto the field.
And if they missed a extra point earlier, so this 2-point conversion would put them back even with how we typically see ball games.
Folks, 17 seconds have gone off the board, and George Wythe has already scored here in the second half. They are on one right now. A beautiful job getting that pass down the seam. 2-point conversion attempt as Tatum Smith is back out on the shotgun set. Man in motion, that's Layden Houston. Takes the snap, will hand the ball off to Houston. Houston tries to cut towards the middle. Did he break the play? And yes, he did. 2-point conversion is good from Layden Houston, and that will make it a 28-0 ball game. This George Wythe side is rocking.
And absolutely electric is this team. And like I said, they didn't want to change anything. They came out into the half ready with their creativity and their new playbook. They're ready to go. I mean, they're want to win this game.
And they started off with 2 play-action passes here on their first drive of the second half. The first one, Tatum Smith pressured and rolled out to the left, just got rid of it. The second one, he finds Ben Jolly wide open down the seam. Got the time, took a shot as he threw it, and that makes it a 4-possession game. My goodness, what a start this has been for the George Wythe Maroons if they are looking to hold on and make it to Salem.
And that is exactly what they plan to do. I mean, they have a sizable lead, and it's up to Grundy right now to see if they've made the proper changes on offense to be able to compete.
1st and 10, they will be setting to kick the football away from the 40. Scoring update, Essex leads Riverhead 8-7 with 10:30 remaining in the second quarter. Onside kick attempt from George Wythe, and it's going to be just short of the yardage they need in order to get a first down, or in order to get the football back. And again, an extra half a yard, that would have been George Wythe's ball, but it goes in favor of Grundy.
And that would have been, with how slow it was rolling, it would have been interesting to see how the refs would have decided when that plane was broken. Would they have decided once it touched the line or once it was past the line?
And you've got to love this attitude here from the coaching staff. They're not wanting to leave anything up to chance. Pedal to the metal attitude here in a 28-0 game. Under center will be Isaiah Boyd. He hands the ball off on the left side, gets into the open field, but a beautiful tackle. No, stays on his feet up near the first down marker. They'll mark him in at the 41, and that will move the chain. It was that is number 6, number 9, which is number 9, John Bush.
There's a flag on the play.
We'll see what that's for. It was one of the George Wythe players had hold of his jersey and was holding him the entire way, but we'll see what the official call is. It looks like it's against the Maroons. A face mask, personal foul face mask against the George Wythe Maroons will give 15 extra yards to Grundy as well.
And that is a drive killer for the defense. This is probably the best field position Grundy's had in the entire ball game.
They did have one drive near the 20 that they didn't do anything with and gave the ball right back to George Wythe. We'll see if they do a little bit better here. 1st and 10 from the 24. Takes the snap, will hand ball to Ethan Roberts. Roberts going to the outside. And nothing doing. He picks up maybe a yard there on first down. That George Wythe defense following the eyes of the ball carrier and gets him down after a gain of 1.
And they went with that unbalanced set again, but this time they had the blockers in the backfield go to the weak side for the handoff.
It makes you wonder if they tried to do that before, if that was the intention on the play before as well, but it just did not execute it. 2nd and 9 from the 23-yard line, 11 minutes left to play in the third quarter. Pistol set. Takes the snap, does Logan Lester. Lester moving to his left, picks up maybe another yard again before being taken down. Luke Jolly there to make the tackle. That'll bring up 3rd and long.
And this is going to be a big 3rd down here. I mean, they are in 4th down territory, barring anything insane happening.
Important note, the farthest along the field that Grundy made it in the first half was the 21-yard line of George Wythe. They're at the 22 right now with 3rd and 8. 28-0 is the score in favor of the George Wythe Maroons in the state semifinals. Under center, takes the snap, pitch to the outside for Ian Scammell. Scammell along the sideline, for he is pushed out of bounds by Brady Walters. A beautiful job there by Walters. And Scammell, that was the one man he had to beat, but Walters just pushed him out of bounds.
And Brady Walters was really showing his speed there as he got around the blocker who was trying to cut the edge around to him, was able to kick it up to another gear, get by him, and push Scammell out of bounds.
We talked about it a little bit in the halftime show, the importance of setting the edge for a defense. Right there, that's exactly what Walters did. And even though Scammell gets to the edge, he can't get much as Walters pushes him out of bounds. 4th and 5 from the 19. Takes the snap, does Boyd, hands the ball up to Scammell. Scammell contacted in the backfield, and he's going down. George Wythe gets the football back. Leighton Fowler makes the tackle. He is amped. And that'll be 1st and 10 for the Maroons. And the offensive struggles continue for the Grundy Golden Wave.
And you can see that they feel broken out there. I mean, this is a team that beat George Wythe in the regular season by around 20. I mean, this is just a complete flip-flop of what they expected.
Grundy being scoreless at this point is quite the surprise. This defense has stepped up for George Wythe. Shotgun set started out. They take over at their own 18-yard line. Tatum Smith.
Looks like they might be setting up a hook and ladder over on this near side.
Layden Houston and Austin repass towards the near sideline. Takes the snap. Fakes the handoff and wants to throw. He throws down the seam. It's intercepted. Logan Lester makes the pick up at the 30-yard line before he gets taken down at the 26. And you can hear the momentum, the life being put back in the Grundy sideline a little bit. Tatum Smith had a man. Needed to float it a little bit more, but Lester makes the play.
It looked like he tried to go with a touch pass there, but ended up kind of putting a little too much arm on it, and it went too low. And in that case, it went straight to Logan Lester.
That's a tough throw to make in that case. Again, like you said, a touch pass trying to find the soft spot, and Lester makes the play. And Grundy's back in business, 1st and 10. Takes the snap, does Isaiah Boyd. Boyd rolls back, wants to throw, just throws this out of bounds as 3 different maroon jerseys were coming in. Colton Green, the first one leading the charge. That'll be 2nd and 10.
In Grundy, you got your opportunity. You got that turnover. You got some momentum on your side. You need to be able to get it down the field, but that's going to be the game changer for them.
2nd and 10 from the 27. 9:56 remaining here in the third quarter. 28-0 is the score in favor of George Wythe. Takes the snap, hands the ball off to number 9, John Bush. And John Bush, he's not getting much. Taken down by Tandem Smith and Colton Green behind the chains. That'll bring up 3rd and about 13. Folks, what else can be said about this defense? They are about playing as well as we've ever seen a defensive unit from George Wythe.
It looks like they were ready for this game. It looks like this is the best that we've seen their defense play probably all year.
Well-rounded effort so far from the Maroons. 3rd and 13. Ball placed at the 30. 9:20 left to go here in the third quarter. Shotgun set. Takes the snap. Reverse to the outside for Logan Lester. Lester can throw. He throws it out into the open field to Brady Walters, and Walters makes the interception. Walters down the sideline where he caught up from behind. That'll make it 1st and 10 for George Wythe. And just like that, they say, anything you can do, I can do better. Pick them off, 1st down.
And Logan Lester, I mean, based on the situation, he was running backwards, didn't really get to plant his foot on the throw. You wonder, maybe he shouldn't have thrown it.
And with it being 3rd long, Lester just trying to make a play, did not put enough arm strength on it, and it was right into the hands of Brady Walters. I believe the intended receiver was number 2, Ethan Roberts, who ended up making the tackle. But that makes it 1st and 10. Ball placed at the 24-yard line. Empty backfield for Tandem Smith. Grundy shows pressure. Man in motion, takes the snap, fakes the handoff to Smith. He cuts back to the left side. Has one man. It's past him. Blockers up in front. Jump cut back towards the middle of the field. He picks up great yards there on 1st down. May have moved the chains. Tandem Smith, escapability and creativity to get up close.
I was getting ready to say, how in the world did he escape that many people around him? He was almost untouched coming up close to the 1st down marker.
And it will be a 1st down as the head official points towards the right side of the field. Again, Tandem Smith being patient, finding the holes in the blocking, gets up to the 34-yard line. 1st and 10. Under 9 minutes left to play in the third quarter. Shotgun set, empty backfield again. Tandem Smith takes the snap. This time he'll hand the ball off to Ben Jolly. Jolly going along the right side, and a good effort there. We have a flag at the end of the play. Tackle was made by Ian Scammell.
And this is on the opposite side of play, so this is going to be an interesting one here.
Could be potentially a block in the back or a hold on the George Wythe side. We'll see what the call is. And it will be holding on the George Wythe offense here, as it was a gain of about 5 there on 1st down. Depending on where the flag was thrown and where the foul was committed, we'll see what the actual damage is.
And we've got 7 officials out there, so, I mean, in a game as important as this one, you can't afford to be sloppy.
They're going to mark it, and it'll be 1st and about, it's not quite 10, it's going to be about 1st and 17. So they're going to say that the flag was thrown at about the 37-yard line. 1st and 17, 8:40 in the third quarter. Maroons lead it 28-0. Shotgun set with Leighton Fowler to his right. Takes the snap and drops back. Smith wants to throw. Throws it towards the middle of the field. Almost intercepted again. Number 12, Isaiah Boyd, reading the eyes of the quarterback, came across the formation and almost took it. He may have taken it all the way to the end zone. Still, falls incomplete.
Yeah, it seems like that's something that the Grundy defense is doing well at, is actually pass coverage. Earlier on, they had one man guarding 2, and that ended up being a touchdown pass. But it seems like Tandem Smith right now is struggling in the passing lanes.
2nd and 17, ball placed at the 27-yard line. 28-0 again is the score. Empty backfield for Smith. Man in motion is Houston. Takes the snap. Will fake the handoff and run right up the middle looking for a blocker, and he's not going to get it. Still picks up decent yards there on 1st down, and he's taken down by number 25, Ian Scammell. Tandem Smith almost gets back to the original line of scrimmage.
And you might be expecting to see probably Leighton Houston running deep on this one, as they're likely to go for a pass on this one, as it is 3rd and about 11.
Scoring update, Riverhead still trails 8-7 with 6:31 remaining in the first half, but they get an interception. And they have it at their own 36. 3rd and 11, 33-yard line. Tandem Smith takes the snap, wants to throw. Drops back, screen pass to the outside for Fowler. Fowler with a blocker in front of him. Plants his hand. A flag on the play here towards the end as it looks like Fowler's dumped behind the line of scrimmage.
And I believe that's going to be a block in the back on Colton Green. It looked like the ref might not want to have thrown it, but it was certainly a close call.
And we'll see what the official ruling is. They're going to wave the flag off, so they're going to say no penalty, but still, either way, it's a loss of yardage there from the George Wythe Maroons, and we will see them punt for only the second time this game. Colton Green set to kick this one away.
And Colton Green, he's certainly got a leg on him. He had a tremendous punt earlier. It was kind of a low punt, but he was able to get a great bounce on.
4th and 15, back deep to receive will be Scammell for the Grundy Golden Wave. Colton Green set to kick this football. Snap is low. It goes through the hands of Green, but Green picks it up. He's running to the outside, has to just get rid of it, throws it into an interception. Ball is down at the 20-yard line, and what in the world was that play? It was intercepted, I believe, by number 88 for the Grundy Golden Wave. That is Jonah Looney.
It looked like it was a lineman out there. I mean, he was a big fella, and I don't know what he was thinking, and you could tell the coaches on the George Wythe side is saying, "What were you doing?"
Looney listed as a 6'5" wide receiver. Again, have to question. It went through the hands of Green. He tried to get rid of it, threw it right to a Grundy player. Shotgun set. Takes the snap, will hand the ball off to Ethan Russell. Russell up the middle, finds good coverage, gets up to the 6-yard line, just short of the first down marker. That'll bring up 2nd and short. Or excuse me, Ethan Roberts.
And that, I am still just confused on what had occurred. This is certainly a bad situation for George Wythe to be in, and it looks like they're starting to argue a little bit with the coach. They're trying to get a little bit of foothold here.
And now they have it 2nd and short at the 6-yard line. Grundy with their best spot to date here on this game. Takes the snap. Hands the ball off to Roberts once again. Roberts moving to the right side. Up past the 5-yard line. The pile's still moving, and now they'll finally roll forward progress. That'll be enough to move the chains within the 5-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal from the 4 for Grundy.
And it looks like they're starting to roll a little bit. They're getting the yardage that they want. It is a 1st down at the 4-yard line, like you said, and they need a touchdown here.
And now we'll see if George Wythe's defense has a goal line stand in them after the wacky interception thrown on the not really fake punt, but just the busted play punt. 1st and goal from the 4. Under center, takes the snap, will hand the ball off to Scammell. Scammell up the middle. It's taken down short of the goal line. They'll have to go all the way up to the 2. It was Logan Lester under center that time. Will hand the ball off. 2nd and goal.
Makes me wonder what they're going to do here on this play. Will they continue to run it up the middle, or will they kind of try to sneak it around on the outside, or possibly go for that little screen play that they did earlier on in the game?
Isaiah Boyd runs the play back into the offense. Under center is Logan Lester. Takes the snap. Hands the ball off to Scammell. Scammell, right side. Did he break the play? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Golden Wave, as Ian Scammell punches it in for the first time this game for Grundy with 5:33 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And, folks, it's lopsided, but it's still a lot of football left to be played. Good response there. Again, Colton Green, you got to be shaking your head and wondering what's going on, but still, great response there from the Grundy Golden Wave.
And exactly, I mean, they are doing a great job out there today. I mean, they had 2 interceptions on, and it was one of them was on a weird kind of play, but actually they're going to keep the offense out there.
They do go for 2 quite a bit. Did he get to the plane? We'll see. And based on this, I think he may be short. And yes, he did not break the plane, so that he is short. Grundy does not typically kick a lot of PATs. They do go for 2 quite a bit. That was actually a talking point for last week's game between them and the Patrick Henry Rebels, as it was a 30-19 final score. It is all for naught, and that leaves the score at 28-6.
And I'm getting a report here as there is a a lot of local farmers in Blaine County here that are supporting George Wythe in this in these state semifinals. So there are a lot of teams, a lot of people in the area showing their support for this George Wythe team.
George Wythe looking to make the state championship. Once again, they will play the winner of Essex and Riverhead if they can hold off the Grundy Golden Wave here. As we see a scoring update with 37 seconds left to go in the first half, the Riverhead Gladiators have it within the 5-yard line. They trail 8-7, so a low-scoring affair over at Riverhead High School. George Wythe, again, obviously can't look forward, can't be excited for anything. You still have to handle your business here with 17 total minutes of game action left. Still is plenty of opportunities for Grundy.
There really are. And Grundy, they've got a little bit of momentum on their side, and they are they're starting to get a little bit of action underneath them.
So, handling the kicking duties here will be number 48, Carson Deal. Tried an onside kick last time, and he looks like he may be doing the same thing here. And this time it'll be number 55, a pooch kick, and it's going to be recovered by the George Wythe team. That's a dangerous play there from one of the upmen, but he handles it well. That looks like it's number 68, Owen Repass, who comes up with that. And that's one of those plays where obviously you can't let it bounce because who knows what's going to happen there, but still, got to handle your business. Since we actually have a flag on the play, it looks like it may have fallen out of the referee's pocket.
It is at a weird spot for a flag to be. And yes, they're kind of... No, actually,
it was the kicking tee. The kicking tee was farther than the ball did, folks. They're using a very yellow tee out there. It looked like a flag on the field.
It looked like one of those darker yellow referee flags.
1st and 10 from the 48-yard line. George Wythe has it in Grundy territory. 5:33 remaining in the third quarter. 28-6 is the score in favor of the Maroons. Pistol set. We have a jump up front, and this might be, we'll see, it's going to be a false start. I don't know if I agree with this one. It looked like the defensive tackle jumped first.
It's a hard play to say. I mean, they're going to call a false start on the center as the center snapped the ball. Kind of like that moment in the NFL. They said the false start.
Everyone except the
center.
And again, folks, from our view up here, it did look like the defensive tackle may have jumped first, but the officials rule it differently. It's a 5-yard penalty in favor of the Grundy Golden Wave. 1st and 15 now. They have it back on their own side of the field. Tandem Smith pistol set. Takes the snap. Hands ball up the middle of the bin. Jolly contacted in the backfield, but he keeps his feet churning before he's taken down just in front of the 50-yard line. They'll have him down at the 49 to gain a 2 on first down.
And they're getting a little bit of kind of action here. They have been doing a great job on offense. It seems like since that interception, they have slowly started to crumble a little bit, and that's not how you're going to make it to the final swing. We talked about earlier how they've kind of become more of a second-half team, and that's not the case right now.
The important thing is you cannot play to not lose. Pistol set takes the snap, hands ball up in the middle to Jolly. Jolly shrugs off one tackler, gets inside the original line of scrimmage before he's taken down at the 46-yard line. 3rd and long upcoming. And again, you have to continue to play to win. You cannot play to not lose.
Exactly. This team, they were battling so hard in the first half, and right now it seems like that same fire isn't underneath them that was helping them get to what was at the time a big shutout.
You may be asking, what do I mean? They're the same thing, playing to not win and playing to not lose and playing to win. Explain what I mean just 1 second. Shotgun set. Tim Smith takes the snap, drops back, wants to run into the seam, and does. It's a man up at the 30-yard line. That'll move the chains. Wade Houston, his favorite target, makes the catch. First down, George Wythe. Frozen rope thrown there from Tandem Smith, and that right there is playing to win. You're not letting the game come to you. You're taking advantage of it. Beautiful throw right there.
And Leighton Houston, like you alluded to, is his favorite target. They're both in the same year, and actually it looks like they had to wipe off some mud on his face mask as he wasn't able to see very well once he got back to the line.
Shotgun set, 1st and 10 from the 30. Under 4 minutes to play in the third quarter. 28-6 is the score in favor of George Wythe. Smith takes the snap, drops back, throws it into the flat on the outside of Brady Walters. Walters makes the catch up at the 25 and gets taken down immediately. Good play there on the outside by number 48. That's Carson Deal, but still picks up 5 yards and half of what he needed.
And they are making their way downfield. It looks like that interception is a thing of the past, and they're going to continue to throw the ball.
And this drive already is looking better as they cut off quite a bit of the clock here in the third quarter. 2nd and 5 from the 25. Shotgun set. Ben Jolly to the left of Tandem Smith. 3 receivers out wide to the left, 1 to the right. Smith will take the snap. He hands the ball up the middle to Ben Jolly. Jolly contacted and brought forward up to the 22-yard line. Tackle was made to the play by number 9, John Bush, but Jolly picks up half of what he needed, 3rd and short.
Like you said earlier, Evan, it seems like it's kind of bizarre to say that they're running chew clock in the third quarter, but with the way Grundy's been playing, it is possible that they're trying to get out of here before Grundy gets fire underneath them.
Grundy typically doesn't score quickly either. They're a very methodical offense. George Wythe trying to take advantage of that. Hard count is unsuccessful with 10 seconds on the play clock right now. Shotgun set, 3rd and 2. Tandem Smith takes the snap, drops back, throws a tunnel screen to the outside. That is Luke Jolly. Jolly makes one man miss, gets up past the first down marker, all the way up to the 16-yard line before being taken down by Isaiah Boyd. That'll move the chains for George Wythe, and they have it set 1st and 10 inside the 20, entering the red zone.
And Luke Jolly is a tremendous player to have on your team as he's able to get around to the outside, make a defender miss, and almost made a second defender miss as well.
1st and 10 from the 16, shotgun set. Scoring update, Riverhead scores with 31 seconds left in the first half. They lead Essex 14-8. 1st and 10 from the 16. Smith out of the gun. He's got trips to his left. Takes the snap. Will quarterback power up the middle. Hole breaks open, and he will get up to the 12-yard line before he's brought down by a couple of different white jerseys, or I should say brown jerseys at this point, with the amount of mud that are on them. That'll bring up 2nd and medium.
And it is muddy conditions out there, and it surprises me how little fumblage that we've seen. And they've done a great job of holding on to the ball, and I think that's something that they came into this game prepared for.
2nd and 6 from the 12. George Wythe can pick up a first down up at the 6-yard line. Shotgun set, 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Man in motion, takes the snap to Smith, will hand the ball off to Houston going across the formation. And Houston lost his footing at about the 15. And it looks like so Houston ends up losing his footing and goes down at the 14-yard line. And at the end of the play, 2 Grundy players ran into each other and ended up taking each other out. So they seem to be up and moving, but it's a loss of 2 on 2nd down.
And you could see the emotion in him as he knew that he should have gotten a better result than that, but slippery conditions out there. You can see the mud all the way up his leg as it is a nasty time to be playing football.
45 seconds left to play here in the third quarter. Shotgun set. Smith sends a man in motion. Takes the snap. Will hand the ball off to Ben Jolly. Jolly following his blockers up the middle. Gets Stayos on his feet. Up to the end zone. That's a touchdown, George Wythe. My goodness, Ben Jolly squirts out and finds a way all the way up to the goal line, and they get a touchdown with 35 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Ben Jolly is a warrior.
And Ben Jolly, actually, it seems like he's hurt his arm, his right arm, as he is visibly in pain as he's coming off the sideline. And that is a man that wanted that touchdown. He wants to win this game so bad. He put his body on the line and is now paying for that.
He is being tended to on the sidelines, and like we said, it seemed like he was going to be tackled short over and over again, but he kept his feet moving, kept going, and he found a way to charge into the end zone. Turner on to attempt the extra point. Mitchell on to attempt the extra point. The kick is up, and it is good. Barely good. Just got over the crossbar, but it does go through. So that makes the score 35-6 in favor of this George Wythe team. And that's exactly what kind of response they needed after giving up that touchdown from Grundy.
And it seems like they don't care about what's going on. They knew that Grundy was coming into this second half with some new looks, some new fire. And after that touchdown, it looked like they were going to try to steamroll themselves a little bit. They were going to get a little bit underneath them. But as of right now, George Wythe, there are a determined amount of individuals out there.
And it seems like every time George Wythe has had to make a play, they've been able to do that. No different there. Ben Jolly, again, on a 3rd and long, finds a way to slip up the middle and get all the way to the end zone. Going to go ahead and say thank you to our sponsors while each team gets back on the field. Bland County Medical Clinic, Whitfield Community College, Wythe County Community Hospital, Wythe County Real Estate, Wythe Physician Practices, Bankers Insurance, Citizens, Princeton Community Hospital, and Whitfield Office Supply. Thank you to the sponsors for everything you do for us as well as everything you do in the community.
I don't know if you noticed that, but Tandon Smith actually had one out there with a different helmet. They had to attend to his previous one, but it looks like whatever the issue was, they got it fixed, and he's now back to his standard issued helmet.
On to kick it away will be Thomas Mitchell, who just had the PAT. Maroons lead at 35-6 with 35 seconds left to play in the third quarter.
And I'd like to see him kick it deep, as he really has a leg on him when he wants to.
And it's a swift kick all the way up past the 40, still in play. It's finally going to be recovered by, that's number 48, Carson Deal, up near the 35-yard line. A little scary there for Grundy for a second, but Deal comes up with it.
It was probably half a second away from being recovered by Austin Rehab of the George Wythe Maroons.
Folks, I want to go ahead and give a shout-out to the food drive. There is the Giving Calendar food drive that is going on here through WXBX, as well as some others. Donations are currently being accepted at Food City, the station, and at Food Country and Roaritry in Fort Chiswell. Donations will be benefiting Hope Packs and local families. Be sure to check out those locations for more information on the food drive this holiday. 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. 35 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Takes the snap, will hand the ball off for a pitch outside to Logan Lester. Lester tries to get inside. He's going nowhere. Layden Houston comes back there and makes the tackle, and you can just see the excitement and the energy in that defense and those George Wythe Maroons players, as that ends up being a loss of about 3 on first down.
And there are so many big-name players on this team. It doesn't seem like there's just one guy out there making a lot of big plays. It is an amalgamation of different personalities and different skill sets that are really shining all together.
That will end the third quarter as the clock hits zeros, and you may be hearing on the sidelines, this George Wythe side is amped. They're holding up 4 fingers saying the fourth quarter is ours. And hard to pick against this George Wythe Maroons team as they go into the fourth quarter with a 4-possession lead. We're going to go ahead and take a 60-second break as soon as by the end of the third quarter. When we come back, we'll have fourth quarter and the final quarter of regulation here for you. We'll see if George Wythe can punch their ticket to Salem. Back in 60 seconds on Cool 95.3. Welcome back to the VHSL State Semifinals. Under center is Isaiah Boyd. He'll take the snap, fake the pitch, roll out to his left, pressure, throws it down the field, looking for a receiver at the 50, and it falls incomplete. Overthrown ball as they were looking for Isaiah Boyd once again, and that'll bring up 3rd and 13.
And that was a deep pass, something I wasn't expecting to see from, a team that's known for not passing. But they really like to throw it over to Logan Lester.
The Golden Wave will come out of the gun. 3rd and 13, takes the snap, hands the ball off to Ethan Roberts, and Roberts going nowhere, maybe gained half a yard. And Leighton Fowler has been everywhere for this George Wythe team, playing a similar role to Luke Keegley back on those old Carolina defenses. And that'll bring up 4th and long. We'll see. And they may be punting this football away.
It looks like they're going to bring in some new players onto the field. So likely they will have Ian Scammell kick this one away.
Scammell will be kicking this football. There's no one back deep to receive for the George Wythe Maroons, so they may just be going for it. Here comes Layden Houston finally as Scammell takes the snap, gets to kick it away. It was almost blocked. Takes a bounce at the 40-yard line for Grundy, and it will finally be down at the 35-yard line. So that's where George Wythe will take over. 11:08 remaining, and if George Wythe can hold on, they'll be heading to the state championship to face the winner of Essex and Riverheads.
And it seems like that Essex and Riverheads is a good game to listen to, as it was, you said it was 14-8 according to the last update.
14-8 at the half between Riverheads and Essex. The Riverhead Gladiators ended up getting a big interception right before the half and scored with about 31 seconds left. Again, getting that lead in front of their home crowd.
And Riverhead, they have dominated the Division I VHSL league for many years, ever since I was still in high school.
They have been the premier program as of late. Pistol set. We have a flag on the play. A false start once again on the George Wythe Maroons. That'll back them up 5 yards. It looked like it was going to be a handoff to Leighton Fowler in the backfield, but a false start will back them up 5 yards and place at the 30.
And that was, they've had, I think this is their third false start that they've had the entire game. They have improved since the beginning of the year, but still it seems a little bit of lack of discipline.
1st and 15 from the 30. Pistol set again, takes the snap. They will hand the ball off to Fowler. Fowler gets into the open field, breaks past one tackler, but the second one does the job. He needed 15 yards. He got 15. Leighton Fowler moves the chains to the George Wythe Maroons. Number 12, Isaiah Boyd, comes up with the tackle.
And you were saying Leighton Fowler's everywhere. Well, we just proved that. We saw him yet again. He is a big name on this team right now.
Leighton Fowler, not necessarily big in the stat sheet right now when it comes to scoring, but he has been one of the main playmakers for this George Wythe team. He showed it right there. 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. Pistol set. 10:40 remaining here, and the play clock's down to 5. Smith will take the snap, hand the ball off to Fowler. Fowler with an opening in the middle, gets all the way up to the 47-yard line, but a flag is thrown at the end of the play in the direction of typically holding.
And he made the signal of holding towards the head official, so I believe you are correct. And he threw that one. He had to kind of corner that one between players to get it where he wanted.
He threw that immediately, too, so it goes to show that seems like it may have been very quickly a holding call. That backs him up 10 yards. And based on the timing of that flag, it's safe to assume that may have happened at the line of scrimmage. So it's 10 yards backwards. It'll be 1st and about 20.
And this is starting to become a penalty party for this George Wythe team. And, they've been having some pretty good success so far. So seeing them get these kind of penalties is definitely an upset.
10 minutes and 30 seconds left in regulation. George Wythe leads at 35-6, 1st and 20 from their own 35-yard line. They were just here at the 35-yard line a couple plays ago. Shotgun set. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Man in motion. Takes the snap, hands the ball off to Houston coming across the formation. Houston with some block in front of him, tries to get the edge, but he's going to be stood up by Ethan Roberts. And he goes nowhere after that. Picked up good yardage all the way up to the 41-yard line, though. That'll bring up 2nd and long.
And Leighton Houston is a special talent on this team. Not as hard of a runner as you'd see Ben Jolly or Leighton Fowler, but he knows when to cut up along the edge like that. And that kind of jet motion sweep play is his bread and butter.
Houston, a much more speed and agility-focused runner as opposed to the hard running of Leighton Fowler and Ben Jolly. 2nd and 14 reads the scoreboard. Ball placed at the 41-yard line. 9:30 remaining in the 4th quarter. 5 seconds of the play clock. Smith will take the snap, and that looked like a busted play. He gets taken down immediately. Number 12, Isaiah Boyd, comes flying in. It almost looked like it was going to be an option play that Smith would have had the option to pitch it out. Instead, he just takes it, and it'll be 3rd and 21.
And I expect to see probably a deep pass play here, likely in the directions of a Brady Walters or a Luke Jolly, but it seems like they're going to discuss this a little bit.
They're definitely using all of the clock. It would not surprise me to see George Wythe run this clock all the way down and then take a timeout. But they come to the line of scrimmage with 7 seconds on the play clock.
They've got Ben Jolly on the edge.
Man in motion is Houston, takes the snap. Smith will fake it, keeping himself up the middle. Got into a crease and gets up to the 48-yard line before being taken down on the play by number 1, Logan Lester. That'll bring up 4th and medium, and you can assume the punt unit will come out for George Wythe. 4-possession lead with 8:25 left to go in regulation.
And I'd say you're correct. Looks like I see some fresh jerseys going out there as we've got Colton Green back to punt.
And Green looking to put this ball down the field, maybe pin them deep in their own territory. Back deep to receive will be Ian Scammell. Green, his 3rd punt attempt. If you remember last time he was out there, ended up throwing an interception on a busted punt. It's a high snap, and he comes up with it. He's going to get this kick away. It's a beauty. All the way down inside the 5. It takes a George Wythe bounce. Can they save it? Oh, my goodness, folks. The ball is down at the 1-yard line. What an effort there from the coverage team. And Grundy has it 1st and 10 all the way down at the 1. What a magnificent magnificent execution.
That was number 11, Austin Repass. Absolutely guns blazing going downfield to be able to stop that one from rolling into the end zone.
Lays out and tips it back towards the 1. That's where Grundy will start. They got to go 99 yards to get into the end zone. And again, Green, under pressure after the high snap, he still puts out that beauty of a punt. And you just feel everything's going George Wythe's way right now.
It really is. I cannot believe that. Such athleticism from the George Wythe team.
1st and 10. Shotgun set. They take the snap. They want to throw. Throws it down the seam for for Isaiah Boyd. Did Boyd caught it? Did Boyd make that catch? Yes, he did. All the way up at the 25-yard line. My goodness, what a throw there. It was Logan Lester on the pass, found Isaiah Boyd, and Boyd made the circus catch falling to the ground. And just like that, all that excitement from the punt is not as it goes for a first down.
And it was a little scary as Logan Lester, he was getting a little close to the back of the end zone there, but he was able to plant his foot down and make a great throw with an amazing catch from Isaiah Boyd.
Was almost pulling a Jimmy Garoppolo or a Dan Orlovsky. Instead, he finds Isaiah Boyd down the middle of the field. Made in motion, the shotgun set. We have a whistle on the play, and it's going to be an encroachment penalty.
I believe that's going to be on number 71, Brock Ayers, for the George Wythe Maroons.
And it looked like the man in motion caught them jumping a little bit there. That'll make it 1st and 5. The ball placed at the 29-yard line. 7:20 left to go in the fourth quarter.
And they're a little antsy after some big plays like this. They're getting stopped a little bit in the second quarter. Second half.
1st and 5 from the 29-yard line. 35-6 is the score in favor of the George Wythe Maroons. Shotgun set. Takes the snap. It's a direct snap to Scamble. Scamble going along the left side. Contacted. Stays on his feet. Still moving all the way up to the 38-yard line before he is taken down by 2 or 3 different maroon jerseys. That'll move the chains for Grundy, and the clock stops. Chains reset.
The atmosphere feels a little different on the field. You can definitely tell these teams don't feel the same as they did earlier on in the game.
3 timeouts remaining for both sides as well. Keep an eye out for that. 1st and 10 from their own 38-yard line. They'll come out in the gun again. 6:42 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Takes the snap. Fakes the handoff. Does Isaiah Boyd. Boyd to the outside. Gets past one tackler, and he had lost his footing. Went down at the 45-yard line. Had he kept it going, he might still be running. And good sportsmanship at the end of the play here. It looks like the George Wythe player's down with a cramp, and the Grundy player's helping him stretch it out.
Yeah, definitely a good job. They're going to have the trainer come out and go talk to him a little bit. Looks like
Owen Repass check out of the game here for a second.
Looks like they might need to talk to him about something.
And so now, here comes the training staff. 2nd and 3 from the 45-yard line. 6:06 remaining in regulation. Shotgun set. George Wythe, 2 deep safeties. Takes the snap. It's Scamble again to the left side. Tries to get the edge and doesn't get there. I believe that's number 10, Leighton Fowler, once again, who makes the tackle. Again, has been everywhere swarming the football for George Wythe.
Yeah, he plays kind of around that outside linebacker position, and they send him in a lot. They don't really look to him as for the pass unless it's absolutely sure.
3rd and short, ball placed at the 46-yard line. They'll come out under center, quarterback sneak formation, and that's exactly what they do. Isaiah Boyd's going to pick up the first down for the Golden Wave just in front of the 50-yard line. Ball we placed at 49.
And they're going to need a little bit of help up as him and Ian Scamble have had a lot of responsibility on this team so far.
1st and 10 from the 49-yard line. 5:15 remaining. Grundy comes to the line of scrimmage. Maroons 5 minutes away from clinching their ticket to the state championship game. Empty backfield. We see it will be Boyd. Takes the snap. Rolls to the right. It's going to be a run. Keys it up past the 45-yard line, close to the marker. That was actually Ian Scamble on the run. And he gets up to the 42-yard line, just short of the first down marker.
He was just missed by Colton Green in the backfield. It was a close call there. And this George Wythe team, their defense doesn't seem to be as peppy as they were earlier on in the game, but they're still battling for this win.
2nd and 2 from the 42-yard line.
The score is 35-6 in favor of the Maroons.
Actually, the scoreboard correct. It's 2nd and 1. Ball placed again at the 42. 4 minutes left to play here from Pendleton Field. Under center is Boyd. Takes the snap. It's a reverse to Logan Lester. Lester bounces to the outside, stays on his feet, and he's going to end up losing a good amount of yardage. Loses 3 yards there on 2nd down. Ben Jolly back there to make the tackle for the George Wythe Maroons. And I'm going to go ahead, knock on some wood here for this sideline. You can feel this sideline, the anticipation growing as each second ticks off that clock. It gets a little closer.
You can feel it. So I definitely see, when we saw them win the region championship, we saw them storm the field, the student section especially. We might be expecting another case of that.
That's it. You can hear in the background the crowd getting amped. They know it's coming. 3.5 minutes left to play here. 3rd and 5 from the 46-yard line. Takes the snap to Ian Scammell. Scammell going to the left side, gets to the outside on the sideline, dragging a defender all the way down near the 30-yard line before he steps out at the 33. That'll move the chains for Grundy, and that will stop the anticipation a little bit sooner, a little bit longer. But once again, George Wythe well on their way.
And he put an arm down onto the ground in order to prevent himself from being pulled down, and just kept running. And, he has shown a tremendous amount of skill in his position today.
1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. 35-6 is the score in favor of George Wythe. 3:20 left to play. Shotgun set. Isaiah Boyd takes the snap, fakes the handoff. Pressure, contacted, stays on his feet, but still will finally go down after a gain of maybe half a yard. Great job by that defensive line from George Wythe. That'll bring up 2nd and long.
And this team is looking for any opportunity to kind of bounce it around the edge and score again. As they have a lot of hope. This is a big game for them, and they want to be able to make it on.
2nd and 10 from the 32-yard line. 2:43 remaining now. Shotgun set. Takes the snap, does Scammell. It's a reverse to Lester. Lester wants to throw, has a man, gets it all the way up at the 20-yard line before he is taken down. That's Looney, the 6'5" tight end. That'll move the chains up to the 15-yard line for Grundy. 35-6 is the score. 2:33 remaining as the clock stops.
And Jonah Looney, it looked like he caught it in the air, but he had to jump a little bit to get that one, put his arms up in the air, and wasn't prepared for it. He got a little off balance and fell over.
1st and 10 from the 15. Clock has started again as the chains are set.
Looking like Grundy wants to get this touchdown in before the game ends. Like you said, their offense is very slow and methodical, and that's shown.
Definitely a timeout taken here by the Grundy Golden Wave, and that's going to get a reaction here from this George Wythe sideline. They want to end things on the right note here for this season. But George Wythe, the anticipation's building, and unless a miracle happens for Grundy, they're heading to the state championship.
And like we said, this Grundy team, they've got a lot of sophomores on there. I mean, it's like every other player on the roster is a sophomore. So it seems like in a couple of years, they may be back in this situation and maybe expecting a different turnout.
One more time, want to give a little bit of spotlight to the Giving Calendar food drive that is going on here through Three Rivers Media and WXBX. If you are interested, once again, donations are being accepted at Food City, The Station, Food Country, and Rural Retreat and Fort Chisholm. Donations will help benefit Hope Packs and local families. If you want more information, be sure to check out the Three Rivers Media Facebook page, as well as stop in at any of those locations. Be sure, again, we can help out some needy families and things like that here at the holiday season. 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line, 2 minutes, 12 seconds left to go here in regulation. And George Wythe is set with the adversity they faced earlier in this season to punch their ticket. Under center will be Isaiah Boyd. Takes the snap, takes the pitch, will roll out to his left, wants to throw. Pressure, just throws this ball towards the sideline. Incomplete. It looked like it was number 68, Owen Repass, I believe, who got there and pressured the quarterback as it falls incomplete.
And he threw that so far, it went onto the track, and it hit a fan in the leg as he was standing on the track. That was a big throw, out of bounds. But ultimately, he wasn't able to get anything on the play. It'll be second down and about 10 yards.
Second and 10 from the 15-yard line. 2:05 remaining. Takes the snap, does Isaiah Boyd. They hand the ball off to Ethan Roberts. Roberts gets up to the 10-yard line before he's taken down by Luke Jolly. That'll be short of the line of gain, bringing up third and medium.
It looks like they're going to continue to play at their pace. Looks like they're probably going to take the last shot at the game as they're going to hold their timeouts right now as we go under 2 minutes with about 1:40 running on the clock.
3rd and 5 now, under 2 minutes to go. In the student section, they're ready. They're amped, and you can tell that they are just amped and ready to get out onto that field. 3rd and 5. Shotgun set here for the Grundy Golden Wave. Takes the snap. Goes to the outside, tries to get the sideline, and does. Did he get to the first down marker? We don't know. Ian Scammell looks like he'll be marked just short of the first down marker.
Looks like he'll need another yard in order to get a first down. They'll be on the 6-yard line.
4th and 1 from the 6. Grundy in no hurry, but I believe, no, it should be, the marker's saying 3rd down, but it should be 4th down.
And the officials are marking, it looks like it's stuck. It's stuck in there here.
They finally fixed it here. 4th and 1, 1:16. Clock is stopped as he went out of bounds. Ian Scammell takes the snap. This time it's Isaiah Boyd with a quarterback sneak. He'll move the chains inside the 5 for the Grundy Golden Wave with 1:11 remaining here in regulation.
And the clock will stop for the chains to move, although they don't need to move as it is now 1st and goal at the 4-yard line.
1st and goal from the 4. A minute remaining here at the end of regulation. Shotgun set. Grundy looking to get their second touchdown of the game. Takes the snap, hands the ball off to Ethan Roberts. Roberts picks up half of what they need, gets up to the 3-yard line. 50 seconds left to play here. At least one more play has to be run before this game will finish.
And you can expect them to get a touchdown here. If they don't get it on this play right here, you'll probably expect a timeout to be called. I believe they have 2 left.
Grundy's just trying to end their season on a positive note. This George Wythe side, they're realizing it. Takes the snap, does Scammell. Scammell scampers to the outside. He did he get to the marker? We'll see. Yes,
he hit the pylon.
He did hit the pylon. Good presence of mind there from Ian Scammell with 20 seconds left in the 4th quarter. And that makes the score 35-12. Can assume that they will go for 2 once again as Ian Scammell gets in for his second touchdown of the game. But all that ends up doing is giving the ball to George Wythe for the final snap of this game.
And you can expect George Wythe, when they get the ball after kickoff, expect them to kneel it down and then go celebrate with their community.
And one of the best, a lot of quarterbacks have said, the best types of snaps, the best feeling of a snap is a victory formation.
And the student section is already down.
Campbell throws a pick on the 2-point conversion, and then will be they're going to say it's incomplete, and Fowler came up with it. 35-12 is the score now in favor of the George Wythe Maroons. The student section's already out on the track with 20 seconds. You see more fans funneling their way down there. They're ready. You can hear this side. They know they're heading to play for a championship at Salem Coliseum next week. And this is an unbelievable atmosphere.
And look at the coaching staff. They're getting hugs from all the players as they're celebrating this. This is a big moment for this team as they have battled their way through the Mountain Empire District, through the regular season to make it to this moment.
And the progression that they made, again, at the beginning of this season, there were question marks about this team. There were times to where they didn't quite play to the bill they were expected to. Very close games with Royal Retreat. In the first half, they were close to Fort Chisholm, but then they broke it away in the second half. Lost a couple of games here and there. Again, Grundy with a bad loss over on the road, but they exact revenge here, and they're going to play for a state championship.
And what an exciting time to be a George Wythe fan as they get ready to return a kickoff.
And it will be an onside kick most likely. Yes, it will. And it's going to be fielded at the 40-yard line by the George Wythe Maroons. And here it is, the offense coming back out onto the field. Tandem Smith will be expected to take the knee that sends them to the state championship.
And the junior quarterback, Tandem Smith, He had a very solid game today.
Oh, I think you may have seen the same thing as the ball was being thrown to the official at the middle of the field. It went off the helmet of a Grundy player.
Unfazed.
A little bit of humor there to end this game. 1st and 10 from the 40. All it's going to take is a kneel down for George Wythe to make it. And we have some underclassmen in the game, it seems like, potentially taking it. We'll be Tandem Smith under center. He takes the snap. The knee is down, and it is official, folks. The George Wythe Maroons are heading to the VHSL 1A state championship game against the winner of Essex and Riverhead next week. What a performance as they defeat the Grundy Golden Wave 35-12.
Absolutely astounding play today. Didn't do as well in the second half as they did in the first, but that didn't matter as they were able to break away and win to go to the state championship.
Coach Harder gets a Gatorade bath on the sidelines there. I'm sure that doesn't feel good with it being as cold as it is outside, but still, it's about as sweet as you could possibly imagine a feeling. Again, the George Wythe Maroons overcoming a lot of obstacles, getting through a lot of adversity, and they're headed to Salem.
I imagine, if my team just won the state semifinals to go to the state championship game, I think I can live with a little bit of cold air and some wet clothes.
Again, what a win this is for the George Wythe Maroons. You can see the energy. You can see the love out there. They're not ready to go home, and they're not going to. Again, Riverhead and Essex. Last scoring update we have from them is Riverhead leads at 14-8 over the Essex Trojans. We'll keep an eye out for that as we enter the WXBX postgame show. But the emotions at an all-time high over here if you're a George Wythe Maroons fan. And us up here in the booth, obviously spending a lot of time calling these games, we kind of grow attached to this team a little bit as we continue going on it. I don't think we're ready to go home either.
I don't think so either. I mean, this is an exciting amount of play, and we've really seen this team grow from where they were earlier on in the year. We've had this team a lot throughout the year, and they have done a tremendous amount of growth and a lot of skill playing, and it's not just one player. There is a whole team out there and a whole community supporting them.
35-12, final score for the George Wythe Maroons as we enter the WXBX postgame show brought to you by the Bank of Rural Retreat, offering the best home loans ever. We're going to take the first 60-second break of our WXBX postgame show. We come back, we'll break down a little bit more of what you just heard in that game, and maybe pick a WXBX player of the game here in this next little break. Back in 60 seconds on 95.3 WXBX. Welcome back into the WXBX postgame show brought to you by the Bank of Rural Retreat, offering the best home loan ever. We have reached the end of the VHSL 1A state semifinal matchup between the George Wythe Maroons and the Grundy Golden Wave, with the Maroons prevailing in this game 35-12 in what was a dominant performance from start to finish. Only gave up 2 touchdowns on the ground for George Wythe. And this Grundy team that put up 30 on Patrick Henry last week, they were completely stymied on offense by this George Wythe team.
And it looked almost like it was going to be a shutout earlier on in the game as we went into halftime with them having scored 0. And they were able to make it up in the second half, scoring earlier on in the third quarter and as well as at the very end of the game.
We have a scoring update a little bit from the Essex and Riverheads game. Essex got the ball all the way down inside the Riverheads 10, but then fumbled, and Riverheads recovered. So they have it leading 14-8 with 8:49 remaining in the third quarter in that game. Again, the winner of that matchup will play the George Wythe Maroons for the state championship next week at the Salem Coliseum. And that's something that in my entire time broadcasting here with WXBX, I've never gotten the opportunity to broadcast a game like that. And you got to think, if it feels like this for us, imagine the feeling for those players out there on that field.
Oh, you can tell that they're excited. You saw how excited they were to play this game. Now you know how excited. You can only imagine how they're feeling out there right now, having won and knowing that they're going to the state championship.
The type of game that will stick with them for the rest of their lives, win or lose next week. Again, they're going to play for all the glory in Salem next week. Going to go ahead and say our WXBX player of the game as well. We had a few options. You could always Ben Jolly had a long touchdown run. Leighton Houston was everywhere. Leighton Fowler was everywhere in the defensive end and offensive end, a consistent carrier of the football. But in the end, we can't give it to anybody else other than Tandem Smith. I mean, what a huge performance he had today. Did throw one interception, but one interception when you give them 4 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 2 in the air. We'll take that any day of the week. Again, Tatum Smith, our WXBX player of the game, with quite the performance.
And Tatum Smith has grown so much since the beginning of the season. As he wasn't a player that was on the field. He was on the sidelines as Luke Jolly took over. And when Luke Jolly got hurt, they relied on him, and he has just shown up and been a tremendous talent. And I tell you what, I'm excited to see not only what he does next week, but next year as well. He's still got another year left on this team.
Like you mentioned, Tatum Smith, a junior, they put a lot of responsibility on him, and where a lot of players would take a lot of time to grow and to star into that spot, Tatum Smith has been so consistent that even when Luke Jolly came back, they're riding with him, and so far it's paid off in dividends as they are headed to the state championship game. Want to say thank you to our sponsors for today's action once again as well. Bland County Medical Clinic, Whitfield Community College, with County Community Hospital, with County Real Estate, and with Physician Practices, Bankers Insurance, Citizens, Princeton Community Hospital, and Whitfield Office Supply. Again, George Wythe headed to Salem for next week against the winner of Essex and Riverheads. We're going to take a final 60-second break of the WXBX postgame show. When we come back, we'll send you on your way and get you a little bit of information about what to expect the upcoming week. Back in 60 seconds on Cool 95.3. Welcome back to the WXBX postgame show, brought to you by the Bank of Rural Retreat, offering the best home loans ever. We have reached the end of our broadcast here from the VHSL semifinals, and thankfully we're not saying goodbye to you just yet, as we'll have one more game on the docket. George Wythe Maroons heading to Salem to take on the winner of the Essex Trojans or the Riverhead Gladiators. Blake Holmes here alongside Logan Porter and our game station engineer and studio operator Willis Williams back at the station as George Wythe defeated the Grundy Golden Wave 35-12. Again, it's hard to explain, and it's hard to really do it justice, the feeling that's here at Pendleton Field and the pride that this community has in their Maroons.
This Maroon team, they have shown how special they really are. As we see them right now, they're getting their picture taken. This team is going to state. The state championship, there are so many teams in the VHSL Division 1A, and we see this team and whoever the winner is of Riverheads and Essex being the only 2 left.
H.S. Ingo for Punt Pass and Predict off the air told me that when you're in that type of situation, you always want your last game to be the state championship game, whether it's a win or a loss. Your goal is to get there. You're going to look back on it fondly. And that's exactly what the George Wythe team did. And at the end of the day, they have definitely defied a lot of expectations, because there were a couple of bumps they hit the road that people were wondering, is this team going to be able to do it? Not only did they go and beat Daylax and beat Grayson, they beat Grayson again. They get revenge against Grundy, and they find their way into the state championship.
And history is told by those who win. And this team right now is on fire, and they are winning left and right.
So, George Wythe heading to Salem. As far as our broadcast and all that information, be sure to keep an eye out for the Three Rivers Media Facebook page. We'll try to update that as soon as we have more information, as well as just keep an eye out on the VHSL sites. They will be providing the times in which those games will be being played. Again, up at the Salem Coliseum. Should be a good one for whoever comes out of the other side between the Region A winner, Essex, and the Region B winner, Riverheads. Also want to give a shout-out one more time to the food drive, the Giving Calendar food drive that is going on here through WXBX and Three Rivers Media. Donate between December 1st through the 24th. Donations are being accepted at Food City, the station, and Food Country and Rural Retreat in Fort Chiswell. Donations will benefit Hope Packs and local families. If you'd like more information, be sure to check out the Three Rivers Media Facebook page, as well as stop by any of those locations to decide and figure out how to help families in need this holiday season. George Wythe heading to the championship. Be sure to keep an eye out, as again, we'll see who they have done on the other side between Riverhead and Essex. For my broadcast partner to my right, Logan Porter, and our game station engineer and studio operator, Willis Williams, holding it down back at Radio Central, my name is Blake Holmes. Thank you for spending your Saturday afternoon with us, and stay tuned for more music, and we'll see you next week here on 95.3 WXBX.